Okay. All right, welcome guys to the webinar. Thanks again for being so early and right on time. It's 7:59 right now at PM. We're going to start in a few minutes while we wait for the rest to come into the webinar. So what you're going to do now is just relax, stay back, get some popcorns, get some drink, and get yourself familiarized with the webinar system right here. All right. My name is Ruben, and I'll be introducing Dr. Lau later on to speak on in this webinar. So go ahead and say hi in the chat section, and I'll know that you are here speaking to me. Hi, Harif. Hi, Anandaraj. Hi, Jericho. Yeah, I see all you guys, right? So go and say hi. Just say hi in the chat section. Get yourself familiarized with the webinar systems here, and I'll know that you're in here. Okay, I see some of my fellow friends here. Hi, Shafiq. How are you? Leonard, Amanda, hi again. Again, thanks for being so punctual. We're going to start about 8:05-ish while we wait for the rest to come in. Now, I see there's about 38 people here already, also on time. This is going against the Malaysian thing of being late. But yeah, you guys are early, and I really appreciate that you guys are so early for this webinar. Right, you're going to learn a lot of things in this webinar, and Dr. Lau is now preparing up his slides, and he'll be coming on to screen in just a few minutes. So yeah, just say hi, talk to people here if you want to. You can, converse in the chat section here. So that's where we're going to ask questions. You can always ask questions in the chat section. Let me know any questions. So my job here today is to take your questions, write them down on the piece of paper or anywhere, and ask them to Dr. Lau as he goes through the webinar. All right. So if you have questions related to web development, how to find a career, anything regarding web development, just go ahead and write down in the chat section on the right. Okay. And I will keep your questions and ask them to Dr. Lau later on. Okay. So stay put. We'll start about 8:05-ish. And just want to get a bit warmed up here. All right. Okay. So just to get the evening started again, I hope all of you have taken your dinner. Right? Okay, what I want you to do right now is to type in the chat section and say, hey, where are you from? Are you from KL? Are you from Penang? Are you from Singapore, Johor? We shared this webinar to people around Malaysia. So I'm just curious about where are you guys from? Are you from KL? So right now, I'm actually broadcasting live from KL, right? I'm in KL right now. I just want to know, right? Are you from KL? So let's go and type in the chat section, right? So we've got people from Cyberjaya, KL. We got a Singaporean in KL right now. That's really, really interesting. Shah Alam. So most of you guys are from KL, Cyberjaya. Wow. Anyone from Penang here? Now I'm a Penang guy, so naturally I'll be looking for people who came from Penang. All right. So, all right, we have a Penang night. We have Penang, we have Angpang, we have Bangi. What else do we have here? All right, let's keep this interactive. You don't get your questions coming in, put in your chat. Let us know. Kampung Baru, Kuala Lumpur, PJ. All right, anywhere else, somewhere maybe in Sabah, Sarawak. Do we have people from Sabah and Sarawak? Just write down. Harif is an MMU student from Cyberjaya. That's great. Welcome again to the webinar. Penang. Well, it's American in KL. Wow, thanks for joining this webinar. We are so honored to have you here, and I hope you receive some golden nuggets from this webinar itself. So we have about 44 people here currently with us, just a bit over 40, and I'm sure more will join in a little bit later, a few minutes time. That's why we're starting a little bit later at 8:05. So again, thanks again for coming so early. I will just give a few minutes for our fellow friends to come into the webinar, and we'll start sharp about 8:05, 8:06, all right? Give and take. It's a Malaysian thing, all right? So most of you here are from Damansara. I'm sorry. Most of you here are from KL. We have Damansara. We have Ampang, Bangi, JB, only a few handful are from Penang. So those of you who just came in the webinar, just go ahead and type in the chat section and tell us where you guys are from, or girls are from. Are you from Penang? Are you from Ipoh? Are you from KL, Johor, or anybody here from Sabah or Sarawak? All right. Okay, so I'm going to also throw out another poll. Now, since you have already answered where you guys are from, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Now, I'm going to ask you another question, right? So a lot of you that, that join us in this webinar today, you want to learn something out from this webinar. You want to learn web development, how to progress with a career in web development, how to find coding as a career, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to publish a poll, and I'm going to do it right now. So the question is, what is the reason, or what's the one main reason that made you, why do you want to learn web development, right? So I pasted up the poll. So go ahead and click on why you want to learn web development. So are you thinking of starting your own web business? Now that could mean starting up a web application, a startup, a tech startup using web technologies, or you want to learn web development because you want to be a web freelancer, do some work for the tech giants, or do something on your own, right? That's fun because you don't have to go to the 9 to 5 work every day. Or you're looking to actually generate new income streams, right? New income streams where you can make a second side off kind of income right after your 9 to 5 work, doing something on the side. And that's really something that we should do these days because, well, money is never enough, I guess, for most people around in Malaysia, right? Are you looking for a new career? It's time to jump. You're tired of your career right now. The career is not taking you anywhere, and you want to go into a tech career, all right? And there may be also the other kind of people who does not fit into any of this criteria, but you may have a reason why you want to learn web development. Maybe it's just interest. Maybe you want to learn it just for fun or to future-proof yourself. To upkeep your skills so you are always ready for the future. So if that's the case, let us know in the chat section. So we'll know, right? We'll know what you do. And what happens here is we can actually cater the webinar more fluently for you, all right? So I'm going to give a few more seconds for people to put in their answers. I'm seeing, all right, I'm going to read out the percentages for you, right? So 23% of people in this webinar are thinking of starting their own web business, right? 36%, the highest, is looking to become a web freelancer, all right? Now, about 33% is looking to generate new income streams. Only 6% is looking for a new career. It's time to jump. And about 11% chose the other section, all right? So let us know in the chat section, right, why you chose others. Okay, let me give you a few seconds to do that. All right, from Lisa, I'm in the talent development space, especially in guiding young talent in making sound career choice. This session is to enhance my knowledge and to gain new info. Great. Really appreciate you coming to this session. Ernest, he's currently coming out with a startup that would involve some coding, want to learn this knowledge to apply it to his startup or business, I assume. That's great. Okay, so I'm going to close the poll in 3, 2, and 1. So just to give you a rough overview of what you guys voted or what you guys put in the poll. So the majority actually wants to look for new income streams. Isn't that interesting? All right. Okay, so just before we start, I'm going to invite Dr. Lau into the webinar right now. But just before we start, I just want to introduce you to Lead. So this webinar is brought to you by Lead. And at Lead, you mostly hear from people like me. I'm Ruben, head of marketing at Lead, and also Dr. Lau. So basically, Lead is a company or more so of an organization where we set out to actually, teach people soft skills in, web development, full stack web development, data science, data analytics, digital marketing, and also business, right? And the way that we do it differently from the many other players out there, competitors or what you would call them, is that we actually teach or we actually deliver skills that you actually use in real job or real career, right? So all the lessons that you will learn from Lead are not lessons that are based off theory, right? They're not based off the books. They're not based off paper. They are based off real career skills. All right, so that's what we do. And again, really appreciate you guys joining us here tonight. I know it's 8 p.m. Most people have their dinner time this time, but again, you guys are amazing. All right, so without further ado, let me introduce Dr. Lau into the webinar. And Dr. Lau, are you ready?
Yes. Can everybody hear me? Okay, so let me share my screen. Okay, you can hear me loud and clear.
Yes. Right, so guys, anyway, just before I close myself off the screen here. Again, if you have any questions, go ahead and write in the chat section. I'll be here to monitor all your questions, and I'll be asking on your behalf to Dr. Lau. All right. So see you again, and Dr. Lau, please proceed. Sorry for interrupting.
That's okay. So, good evening, everybody. This is Dr. Lau here. For those that you have attended my webinar before, welcome once again. Welcome back. For our new friends, thank you very much for being here. I'm actually doing my webinar live here from Chiang Mai, so Thailand. It's a very interesting place because I always share this this story, a bit of the journey is what brought me back to Malaysia. So I left Malaysia in about year 2000. I went to Singapore to do my diploma. Then at that time, right? Okay, I'm from JB. So at that time, you know, when you look back at your backyard, the only country that saw like better than us is actually Singapore. But back then, when you talk about Chiang Mai, Thailand, Bangkok, Indonesia, even Vietnam, it's like people are talking them like some kampung, some underdeveloped place. But then after that, I went to Australia, and then I did my bachelor, my master, my PhD, and then I came back. Then things suddenly change. It's like, wow, they have developed so much. Thailand internet is very fast. E-commerce is very well developed. People are very acceptance to all sort of different kind of payment gateway, online payment. And then when you go to when you go to take public transport, you have tuk-tuk, you have the normal tuk-tuk, but you can also use Grab to call a Grab car, or even you can take a road dang. It's like a van, but it seats 6-7 people. For those of you who have been to Thailand, you know, right? And then you have Indonesia, you have Gojek, you have all sort of different mode of transport, payment, logistics services, and also you have Vietnam. They produce a lot of good software developers and engineers. So I think that's what lead, right? Like Ruben gave a very good introduction, and what I really want to do is to bring all those things that I have learned from overseas, working with those Guilos in Australia and then US, my experience. So through this webinar, what I really want is to get everybody to be here to learn as much as you can. So make this session a very interactive one so that you can ask me as many questions as you can. All right. Now, at the end of this webinar, I want to make sure that you guys will understand the key elements in the coding career or in the job of coding. So a lot of people, they used to call like, we are programmers, you know, but actually you need to understand. I will take from a higher level, a more broader view to let you know what it takes for you to actually begin a coding career. And not only that, now this webinar is specifically suitable for people who are into freelancing. So most of you, I believe that Ruben has did a poll, right? So most of you are into freelancing, or you're actually business owners. You are trying to take your business online, and or some of you are actually looking for side income by developing some side projects. That will be probably a pre-step to become a startup founder. So you have very good ideas, but you want to turn those ideas into realities, and then that will be something that you could consider as well, right? A coding career. And of course, anybody who is trying to get into a coding career, or you simply want to know a bit more about coding, just want to know, let's say you are currently working in the IT department, you want to know how to better talk to your teammates, or you're looking to get your company a new systems, for example, yada, 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 to better talk to your clients, your suppliers in their lingos. I think this webinar is for you, okay? Now, if any of your questions did not get answered, feel free to email me. You can leave a message at the chat box, or feel free to email me at drlau@thelead.io, and I will be able to help you personally. All right. Now, today's agenda is I'm going to cover the 4 things for you to you need to know before begin your coding career, and then I'll talk a bit about the Full Stack 360 development program, which is our upcoming program for those who are interested into pursuing your web development career. And of course, if you stay to the end, I'll give you the slides, so you don't have to. You just focus on making notes. You don't have to take any snapshot or screenshot about the videos of the webinar. So we'll send you the slides as long as you stay to the end. Okay. Now, a brief introduction about myself. This is Dr. Lau here. I graduated from a Bachelor of IT degree. So throughout my career, I did a lot of IT stuff, but I make sure that every degree that I take is different subject. So in my bachelor's, my major is in database. And then when I was doing my master's, I focused on research into social media. So back then when Flickr, Facebook, they just started to come out. So we do a lot of research study about what are the user behaviors when they use those sort of social media. And only in my PhD at that time, I focused a lot in machine learning and what they call nowadays like AI, this sort of automation. So I co-founded Lead, iStream, and also UCAN Technologies. So in particular, UCAN Technologies is the mother company of Lead, and iStream 360 is my B2B facing. So in iStream 360, we have clients like Joel Corporations, QSR, KFCs, Pizza Hut, KPJs. We built the data analytics platform for them so that they are able to consolidate all the data from different places all under one place. I'm also an in-house corporate trainer for FusionX, Intel, HP, OCBC. You'll be surprised at how many software engineers they actually have and how much software actually involved in those companies. So for example, in Intel, they do a lot of automated software testing for their hardware, for example. And I'm also the state advisor for Smart City and BDA initiative. So BDA stands for Big Data Analytics for Johor State and also Selangor State. Before this, I was the Microsoft Excel Expert World Champion. So I represented the country. I went to Shanghai, went to US to compete with the Microsoft Excel expert users from all around the world. And then we create things like macros, VBA scripts to complete multiple different tasks. Then I was working in Microsoft e-Research Center before this. Now I'm also a HRDF certified panel as a certified trainer, and I'm the chairman of MQA courses for data science and also big data. So what that means is all the courses that you see in Malaysia universities, so all the degrees, master program, they have to come through endorsement system, and most of them will be endorsed by me. And for those of you who are into startup scene, you might have heard of Magic and Magic Academy. So I'm the founding director of Magic Academy when we first started. So a lot of the programs that you see nowadays actually came out from me. Now, to share this information with you is not just to show off or to brag, but it's actually for you to get a better understanding about my background, for those that you haven't met me before or you don't know me, and then so that you can know how to relate the stuff that I'm talking about with your current jobs or your current business so that I can help you better. Now, a brief history about myself. On your left-hand side, those are the things that you see. So when I started programming, it was like, I think when I was 9 or 10 years old. My mom found those days a couple of weeks ago. So the very first program that I wrote was actually a DBase program. So we used that to create, I think back then was for the salesman. So my parents was actually in the retail business. So there's a lot of salesmen come and go. So we have to calculate their salary, their commissions, their leaves, their EPF, SOXO. And the machine on your right-hand side is actually a 24-pin printer. So we use those, we write little program for them to save my mom a lot of time so that she doesn't have to manually calculate those salaries and EPF and SOXO. And then we use that printer to print their payslip for them. So that's my, sort of like my very first step into the programming. And then fast forward, I think 10, 15 years later, I on the left-hand side were my colleagues from Microsoft e-Research Center. So we put on GPS tagging on those cute little koala to track them when they run around so that we know where are they going and what are they doing. So most of the time koalas are sleeping, so it's quite impractical for human beings or for biology scientists, animal scientists to watch them all the time. And then on the right-hand side is a it's not like a CMS system, customer management system for a tour or travel agency. Now this is way before Airbnb is built. So a bit of my background. And then one of the things that I did when I was in Brisbane was I co-founded cooperating.com, or now it has been renamed. So after we got bought over by our investors, it's renamed to Plus. You can see it's a very small team. So what do we do is, now when you do social projects, right, there are proper tools that help you to manage your corporate or your business project. So for example, let's say you're trying to do weekend projects. to build a hut for your pet, or you try to organize a birthday party for your niece. Now these are the projects that you can't be managed using traditional business program. So you are not going to build a Gantt chart, or we are not going to use Microsoft Project to track how many resources are put in, how many people are working on the projects. But you do need to track those nitty-gritty details. For example, who are coming for the birthday party, how many balloons you need to buy, and co-op rating is actually a platform for you to do that. The name co-op rating comes from when people collaboratively work on that project. So, for example, I'm a data scientist, I'm a software developer, but I can also sing, or I can also cook. So I can work on your social project, I help you to cook, and then you give me some rating. And then the other guy, let's say he's a plumber, and then you are electrician. So you guys can barter trade or exchange the skills so that you can rate each other. So it's a very early stage of the rating system. It's a predecessor of the rating system, but we use it to talk about, to help to manage the social project. Oh yeah, so one of the questions people ask me, like, why am I here in Chiang Mai to talk about blockchain? So yeah, blockchain is a buzzword. Okay, everybody nowadays, you look at the media, they will talk about blockchain, they will talk about cryptocurrency. So I'm not so much into cryptocurrency. I'm more into blockchain itself as a technology. So to look at how blockchain is going to change your life. Yeah. So to put it in a more practical terms, for example, in Malaysia, one of the key technologies that last time when we were at Selangor State, we were looking at halal certification or halal tech. Now, halal is not just a simple process. Okay, halal is a very complicated process. So go around and talk to your Muslim friend, you understand that a lot more. It's not just about those things that we perceive, like you cannot eat pork or you cannot drink alcohol. So with technologies like blockchain, is going to ensure that every single part of the halal processes get certified and get verified by a peer-to-peer network. Yeah, that's just a little bit about why am I here in Chiang Mai. Okay. Now, another startup that I founded when I was in Melbourne is a Hero Boyfriend. So Hero Boyfriend, as the name tells you, right, it helps it helps the girlfriends to turn the not so heroic boyfriend, or in Australian terms they call them shitty boyfriends, into hero boyfriend. Most of the time, as a guy, I take the blame. Okay, the wife or the girlfriend will complain about, you're so not romantic. You didn't bring me out for the latest movies. You don't know where to have lunch. You don't know where to have dinner. You forgot my mother's birthday, etc., etc. So Hero Boyfriend is a chatbot. Okay, back then chatbot was a very hot thing. There's a chatbot that helps us to gather information from the boyfriends to understand more about their partners or their girlfriend or wife, to understand things like what they like. Do they like to go to yoga? Do they like to eat chocolates? So that we can monetize based on that using machine learning. So we make use of machine learning algorithm to model the preference of the girlfriend or their partners or wives. Then from there, we're able to sell them products. And the way that we monetize is based on the service. So for example, we recommend you a place to go for hiking or camping, or a nice restaurant you should go with your partners for dinner and stuff. And that's where we make money, because through the bookings. And of course, we sell gifts as well. Yeah. So that's it. Now, fast forward 2014, I'm back. I co-founded Magic Academy. And then I go around coaching Sabah, to courses. I'm trying to get younger. What I really want to do with the mission of lead that I carried is, I want to bring the awareness and exposure of those education and the technologies to the most people. Yeah, and I'm glad that you guys joined me here tonight. Thank you very much once again. So let's go into tonight's topic. Yeah, how do you actually begin a coding career? Now, there are a few things that you need to know. Number one, languages out there. Every time people will ask you about, Dr. Lau, should I learn language A? Dr. Lau, what is the use of language B? So today I'm going to give you a broad overview before we zoom into the web development part. The mother of computer, the mother language of all the computer, or better, we say the mother tongue of computers or modern computer, is actually the assembly language. So for those of you were coming on a microcontroller from a E&E electronics background, this is no stranger to you. But for those that you are not coming from a electronic background, this is some alien. Even when I was here, so I totally don't understand, because these are machine language. So assembly language is actually the low level language that we write, and then everything will be converted into binary code before the computer can execute those instructions. Yeah. So binary code is just those 0101 things that's going to store into your computers. So you don't have to learn assembly language in most cases. So you get to learn assembly language if you get to learn it when in your university time or during your high school or diploma time. Otherwise, you just have to remember or have to know that, okay, there's this thing called assembly language, and this is the low level language that we use to write commands directly for computer to execute. Okay, understand? Now, after the assembly language, we will have two common language that you have seen. Number one, C language. Number two, C++ language. You can say that C++ is the extension of the C language. You can understand it that way. It's not something wrong. So C programming language is the very basic form of medium to high level programming language, where you write in a form that is easier for a human to understand, or is readable or comprehensible by human being. Now, C language is a very procedural language, which means that every command is executed line by line. The C++ is an extension to the C language, where it allows us to write object-oriented programming languages. I'll give you an example. So on top, you will see that there's these are the typical C and C++ programming. Now, C language is usually used when you have middleware. For example, you're writing some firmware, you're writing some firmware for your router, for example, or you're going to write some low-level programs that control the microcontroller or some of the chips. Then you can use C language because it's procedural, so everything is going to be executed line by line. But if you are going to execute something that is more advanced and you require objects, then you can consider to use C++. Most of the time you see C and C++ language in Linux. In Windows also you will see that, but not so often. Yeah, we hardly use C or C++ language to develop business application or web application especially. So again, you just have to know, okay, these are the two very fundamental language that people use it to write firmware, people use it to write console application in Linux, and that's about it. Okay, we good? Now, once we move away from C and C++, the next language that we are going to learn is Java language. Now, Java language is a very popular language that in the past we learned it in a university because it's a very rigid language and very strongly typed language. So what does it mean by strongly typed language? Say today you define a variable, the variable we call it A. Okay, it's just like mathematics. You have something unknown, you call it A or you call it X. Now, this X, if it is stored as a string, the nature of this variable cannot be changed. This is what we call a strong type language or strongly typed language. Okay. Now, by using Java, we usually use Java to write a lot of Java applications. Now, if you remember the screen on your left-hand side, you are always reminded to install the Java runtime if you want to run some of the Java application on your browser, right? Remember that? On your right-hand side is a Java applet. Now, this Java applet, usually we use it to run some programs. It's very easy to tell, especially when they're not formatted properly or nicely, right? You can tell, okay, this looks like the Java program. Now, what is the revolutionary part of a Java program is that, why is Java program important? Now, number one is, in the past, Java program considered to be the more secure language, and so that's why it's very well accepted and liked by a lot of the corporates. So corporate company, if you remember last time, all your banking, all your online banking stuff, most of them are run under the Java environment. Now, Java got nothing to do with JavaScript, okay? I'll cover that a bit later, but Java got nothing to do with JavaScript. JavaScript is JavaScript, yeah? Now, for Java itself, revolutionary part is Java allowed you to learn one language, which is the Java language itself. And Java developer used to be Sun, S-U-N, and they got bought over by Oracle. The company that developed Java, is their job to take the Java platform all over. So you can run Java on the Windows machine, you can run Java on the Mac machine, you can run Java on your mobile phone. Not sure, do you still remember your Nokia phone that can run Java programs, right? Now, they also attempt to take the Java program to the TV, if you remember. Okay, this might reveal my age a little bit, but those are the stuff that we did last time. Of course, nowadays you see them, most of them, they are running on Android. But Android, to a certain extent, the language is very, very similar to Java language, for those who have tried it before. So Java, the revolutionary part of Java is a language that you learn one and then you can develop it on multiple different platforms, as long as the platform supports Java runtime. Okay, you just have to remember this. Just jot this down. So whenever you are looking at the language that you need to run across different platforms, as long as they support Java runtime, you can write Java to run on it. Okay. Now the next thing is, once we have Java, we also look at the Microsoft ecosystem. Microsoft has been in the player in the industry from operating system, cloud systems, office system for more than 20 years. Okay, it's a taiko. Yeah. So Microsoft decided to come out their own version of Java, which is called C#. Okay. Now, also another language which is called Visual Basic. Visual Basic actually comes from the old basic programming language, and they make it into object-oriented programming language, and they call it Visual Basics. These are the bread and butter for Microsoft programming ecosystem for many years. Okay, so you just have to remember C# and Visual Basic, they came from Microsoft ecosystem. Now, the revolutionary part of Microsoft is they built something called the .NET platform. Okay, or what we call the .NET framework. Within .NET framework, it allowed us to build a web application or a Windows Forms application that looks like this. Yeah, this one can be a Windows Form application. It can be a web form application as well. So depending on what are the components they are used to build, but it supports two languages mainly, C# and also Visual Basic. Now, what is the revolutionary part of Microsoft.NET framework if that's the case? Because they want to go against the market share of Java. Microsoft had to do something different. So what Microsoft did was .NET framework is a common runtime, common language runtime, they call it CLR. This common language runtime, they allow people who learn different programming language to come on board to use it, as long as the language is supported by the common language runtime. Okay, so you understand the difference, yeah? Java is, you learn my language, I make sure that your language runs on all the different platforms and different devices. But for Microsoft is, hey, I'm going to build this platform, okay? But whoever know how to write a particular programming language, you just come to my platform. I will make sure that your language can be run, can be executed on my platform. So this is the two different approaches. It is totally different that is taken by Java and also Microsoft. Okay, so in C# and VB case, most of the time we use it to build a Windows application, so Windows Form application, or traditionally whoever that's coming from an ASP background, ASP server pages, active server pages, then they can also use their C# and also VB in the ASP program. So that's the only thing. Yeah. So, but if you use Microsoft ecosystem in the past, they usually require you to use Windows servers, Microsoft SQL servers in order for all the programs to work well. But in the past few years, Microsoft has been more open up. So they are more okay and embrace the open source ecosystem. So they are not that bad nowadays, because the new CEO understands the trend of the future is to be more open, more agnostic, rather than asking users to be tied to a single system. Okay. Now, next thing we are going to look at is the key elements of web programming. All right. So the few slides, the past few slides, I talk about console application, meaning that those things that you need to develop and run on a console programs, to run on a desktop or run on the a desktop or a Mac. Yeah. So a desktop or the Apple. Now, yeah, I was meant to say Windows or Mac. So that's one part. So today there are still a lot of companies, because of the legacy system, so such as banks, such as POS system, they have no choice but to get stuck with those legacy programs. So they still need some people to extend or enhance their existing Windows application. But as you can see, the trend is moving towards the ubiquity, the singularity, because of web technology. If you go around on the streets, right, nobody is actually carrying a laptop and do some work there. Okay, maybe you go to Starbucks, you see some of them, yeah. But that's because those people are a bit old school like myself. So I can't really type on a mobile phone. I can type. So my parents are even more old school. They can't type on their mobile phones. They can either use a note pen to write, Samsung Note, or my mom have to type on the keypad. We call it sebiji lah, yeah. It takes a very long time to type probably a word okay, or in some Chinese word. So you get the idea. So the key thing is, next thing is the web technologies nowadays. Now, when it comes to web technologies, a lot of people got scared. When I was going to APU the other day. I was at APU last week. So a lot of the students, when they say they want to learn web technology, they were so scared. They was like, sir, there were so many different technologies. You got this, you got that, you got Ruby, you got Python, you got JavaScript, you got HTML, and then you got jQuery, you got Bootstrap, blah 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 blah. Yes, but all you have to remember, right, if your concern, or if your aim or your goal is to become a web developer, you just have to remember all the websites in the world. Okay, take note of this. All the websites in the world are built using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. That's all. Okay. In the last webinar, I give a very detailed explanation about what is web development, right? For those who have attended, so you remember what I talk about HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, how it was used, right? So I give you a quick summary, or quick review. HTML is the language that handles the structure of a web page. Whether you're looking at Grab, you're looking at eBay, you're looking at what else? Google, Facebook, yeah, all those web pages, right? They are all written in HTML. Okay, nothing else. It can only be written in HTML. It doesn't matter what their backend is. Okay, we'll talk about backend later on, but they are all using HTML. Everything that's sent to the browser has to be HTML. Browser only understand one thing, whether you're using IE, Safari, Firefox, Chrome, Opera. They only understand one thing, which is HTML. Okay, clear. Remember this, okay? Very important, so I have to say it 3 times. Now, HTML only defines the structure. Okay, defines what are the content that's going to put inside, what are the image file, what happens when I have to load some of the content from elsewhere, where should I pick up the file. This is the job of HTML. But it doesn't handle the aesthetic part. It doesn't handle the cosmetic, the look and feel part. Now, in order to make your website to look pretty, lawa sikit, you have to use CSS. Okay, CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet. You just have to remember the part is the style sheet part. We can write many different styles for you to beautify your CSS. Your HTML. So your HTML is just the text, it's just the position, it's just the elements, it's just the ugly plain structure file. With CSS, we're going to turn it into a beautiful file so that you can set up the font size, you can set up the font family, you can set up the different effects, boldface, italic, underline. Okay, all the effects are done on CSS. Okay, so HTML is the structure, CSS is the look and feel. Now, cover these 2 things. The only thing in the middle is JavaScript. JavaScript handles your interaction. Okay, JavaScript handles the interaction, which means that when your user click on something, what should happen? What happened? Should I load further information? Should I go to the next page? Should I calculate something? Should I retrieve some of the elements or some of the data from the database? Talk to the servers, submit your information to the servers. These are all done by JavaScript. Okay, so JavaScript is like a brain. It's like a mini brain in your web page. It's like a command center. It handles the logic, it handles the events, it handles all the calculations and stuff like that. It's all done by JavaScript. Now, once again, very important, all the web page you see in the world, no matter it's on your mobile phone, on your PC, on your Mac, is only written in these three languages. Nothing less, nothing more. Okay, and this is what we call the front end part. Now, front end can be extended into a very huge topic. It can be talking about user interface and user experience, or what we call UI UX in the startup scene, right? Don't worry about those things. It all started from this tree. Now, this is called the web development front end. Now, next thing we're going to talk about backend. In Malaysia, when we talk about backend, the first language that comes to people's mind is PHP. Because PHP in the past is a very good language that a lot of people will use. Now, PHP is used by Tigor. Google is using PHP. Facebook is using PHP. Normal people, when you want to learn, if you are coming into a new language, the modern language, usually we won't recommend PHP. Because PHP is good, but it's very hard to manage when it gets bigger. This is my philosophy, the yin and yang story, right? If something is very hard to learn at the beginning, yeah, it's going to be easy to manage later on. Because at the beginning, it's very hard. Like when you learn English, for example, right? English is very hard to learn. But when you actually apply it, it's actually not that hard, because once you master the grammar, you understand how it works, right? Is actually quite easy to use. Yeah. But there are also some language, if you don't learn the basics properly, let's say Bahasa. Yeah, Bahasa itself is not hard to pick up. Right, Bahasa itself is a very, I would call it a user-friendly language, because anybody can look at Bahasa and pronounce it. But in order to master Bahasa as a language, it's actually very hard. So PHP sort of fall under the category, which is that, I'm not saying PHP and Bahasa is the same, okay? Don't get me wrong. But PHP falls under the category that is, when you write PHP, we look at those examples online, right? Those tutorials, there are tons of tutorials online that teach you about PHP. They use a plaster approach to teach you. Okay, you want to learn how to display a table using PHP? Sure, I can teach you. Google how to display a table, how to render a table in PHP. Done. Okay, then you copy and paste this code into a HTML file or into a PHP file and then run it, and then it works. But PHP, when it grows bigger, when your project gets bigger, when you have 10 files, 20 files, it's sort of like very hard to manage. And then you need to learn another framework. So for example, people will learn CodeIgniter, and people will also learn Laravel, for example. These are the different frameworks that help you to manage PHP as a language. So it gets harder and harder, and then there's a lot more things that you need to learn. So it's not so user-friendly. People who, okay, so the question is, who needs to learn PHP in this case? Very good question. People learn PHP when they are using some of the software, some of the existing system that they require to customize. For example, WordPress, the classic example. A lot of you probably coming from a background as a WordPress users, or you want to turn into a WordPress plugin developer, or even you bought some plugins online or bought some themes online, and then you don't know how to customize it, right? Yeah, that's when the time that you need to use PHP. Yeah, in today's case, otherwise you're applying for the job that they build existing system in PHP and they don't have plans or don't have time to rewrite. That's where PHP is required most of the time. Yeah. Now another one is Node.js. Node.js is my personal favorite. And also a lot of beginners, they love this language. Now, if you see the word JS behind, right, it's actually the same as the JavaScript that we mentioned earlier. So you must be wondering, hey, Dr. Lau, just now you said JavaScript was a front-end language, right? Now, this is the beauty of Node.js. There's this smart guy who took the JavaScript from the front-end language, and then they took out the engine, they put it into backend server. So by using Node.js, you can now write JavaScript for your front end and also your backend. So learn one language, use it at both sides. Now, in fact, JavaScript is the most popular language. Later on, I will show you in with more evidence. But for now, you just have to remember JavaScript is a language that can be used in front end together with HTML and CSS, and also used as your backend language to power up a web server using Node.js. Okay, now Node.js is a very user-friendly JavaScript framework, and also JavaScript itself is a very user-friendly language, although it's a bit unstructured in some sense because it supports a lot of functions, and also it has a lot of code mode because JavaScript itself is a very long language with a long history. But I still think that Node.js is a very powerful framework, and in fact we have been teaching JavaScript and Node.js framework for I think for 2 to 3 years now. Yeah, since 2015 until now, and a lot of startup companies, new companies, they actually prefer using Node.js. Now the next one is Django or Django, what we usually call. If you are coming from a Python language background, Python is a language that is also very beginner friendly and user friendly. You don't have to write any code blocks. You just have to use indentation or using tabs and spaces to beautify the code. If this is too abstract, don't worry about it. You just have to remember that Python itself is a very user-friendly language. It's for beginners to learn, and it's also very powerful and one of the most popular language in data scientist community as well. So a lot of data scientists will pick up Python and also pick up Django. So we learn how to use Django to create websites as our backend. So Python is the language that is mainly used to write scripts and run on the backend. So we don't run Python in the front end, right? Okay, and that's where Django comes into place. Now, Django is the web framework that allow us to do a lot of things like processing, generate graphs, generate charts, and also we do a lot of scripting behind the scenes to process large amount of data, yeah, synchronously or asynchronously. Okay, now for those that you are coming from Microsoft ecosystem, there's this thing called ASP.NET. ASP.NET is the extension of ASP, while it is designed to run in the .NET framework. Okay, so ASP.NET inherits all the good things about .NET. So you are able to write codes in C# or in Visual Basic and then run in ASP.NET ecosystem. Now, most of the things that I mentioned, right, the language itself, they are free. The languages itself, they are free. Okay, you don't listen to somebody. They'll tell you like, oh, okay, ASP.NET is very expensive. ASP.NET is free. Yeah, but the Visual Studio.NET, the tools that used to write ASP.NET is expensive. You can use any tools to write programs. You can use Notepad. You can use Visual Studio Code. Right. In the previous Airbnb demo, I show you how to create a website just using a code editor. Yeah, Visual Studio Code, a text editor, sorry. But you can still use other programming tools, or you can use other text editors like Notepad, Vim, Notepad++, or even Sublime. Yeah, there are many tools out there that can help you to write programs. But ASP.NET requires the tools, Visual Studio.NET, in order to fully function, so to fully unleash the potential of .NET ecosystem. So that's the key difference. So before I go into the next one, I've covered the console applications. Okay, I also covered the front end web applications, and also I covered the back end web applications. Is there any questions?
Right. Okay. We have a few questions. Maybe we just answer one question for now.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So the first question I have here is, how is Node.js going to grow in Malaysia when PHP LAMP is still preferred because of cheap hosting?
Oh, okay. This one I will give you a bit of, as a data scientist, I have this habit. I will show you in terms of the growth of the language itself from Stack Overflow and also GitHub. We look at it from a macro point of view, a global scale, so that I will show you how the language itself grows. Long story short is, in Malaysia, despite a lot of companies, they're still using PHP, they're still using LAMP stack. At a certain point, they have to decide, especially when they're growing their team and also they're growing their applications. Web application is something that you can architect, so it can be architected properly. For example, your existing system can still be run on WordPress, but your new system, it can be running on Node.js. Grab My Taxi last time, right? Their existing system is actually written on other languages. But moving forward, because they need something that's highly scalable, a part of their calculation and route planning systems is actually written in Node.js. And it's not going to cause any problems because it's web applications. So the compatibility issue is much less compared to console application. If you have a console application, then you have to worry about the language and also the operating system, because a Mac program is hardly going to be compatible with a Windows program, for example, unless they're both written in Java, like I said, or that you are using some sort of open source systems like Mono or Wine to make the two applications that talks to each other. Also, another thing that I probably need to clarify or mention is that in the modern applications, right, a lot of the web applications, so for example, if you're building a POS system usually have a front end. The front end can be mobile apps, the front end can be a console application, the front end can be even just a Windows Phone application. But behind the scene, right, the back end, they're all calling the same web API. Yeah, the underlying layer, as long as we're doing some sort of information exchange, or even you talk about very chunky things like blockchain, right? It's all built on top of cloud technologies. Yeah, so web technologies is eventually is more important than other technologies that you are going to pick. Yeah, it will be a layer, not just a single vertical. Okay. All right. Next thing that we are going to talk about is mobile web applications or mobile apps architecture. A lot of times people get confused. Let's go back to the next chart first. Okay, when you listen to mobile apps application, there are tons of different names that will come up. All right, iOS lah, Android lah, React lah, Ionic lah. Yeah, okay. Now let's take a step back to understand the modern apps architecture. Okay, in the modern apps architecture, like I mentioned earlier, right, it doesn't matter what apps you run. Okay, it can be a Windows app. Even in Windows application, they start to call some of them apps, right? Or if you have an Xbox systems or you have a PS4, now those who have used PS4 or Xbox, you know, right? There's even YouTube app inside. Yeah, you don't have to go to YouTube. You can watch YouTube on your Xbox to get the 4K resolution or at least full HD resolution. Okay, all these are what we call the modern application architecture. All your console, look at the left hand side, yeah? All your consoles, all your browsers, your mobile devices, your smart devices, your web browsers, your phone, your watch, your TVs, they are all sending the same request to the server. So whether your server is a Google server, Facebook server, eBay server, PS4 server, Xbox server, it doesn't matter. It's just still a server. And after we send the request, they will be responding with a generated web page, right? Whether it's in the HTML or HTML plus CSS or with some images. And then the server will determine based on the understanding of the device. So for example, I'm sending a request from a smartwatch, okay, from an Apple Watch. Now the server is smart enough to know, okay, you are sending from a smartwatch, so you cannot handle too much information. I'm going to send you a very mini version of what we are going to show you here. Let's say you're requesting for weather information. I won't show you the whole image or whole map of the whole Thailand or the whole Malaysia. Okay, I'll just show you a little bit of the information that you need to know. But if today your request is coming out from, let's say, an iPad, or iPad Pro, then it's a different story. I'm able to feed you with more information for you to download it, for you to display it, and for you to render it. But on the architecture point of view, all the modern applications are sitting on the same web technologies that do client and server retrieval. It doesn't matter what are the devices that you're using, and it doesn't matter what is your server doing. Okay, your server is smart enough to determine who are the clients that request the information and return the necessary information to the device. Okay, so now you have to, it gives you a better understanding about what is it all about. In mobile applications, right, there are three types: native applications, hybrid application, and web application. Native application is very easy to understand. Everything that you install on your mobile phone, your apps, your Angry Birds, your ruler app, your flashlight app, your Clean Masters, your calendar, those are native applications. Okay, those native applications, they are connected to the operating system, so they sit directly on your OS. So it can have access to all sort of all sort of peripheral accessories. So for example, your gyrometers, your GPS, your contact list, your flashlight, your cameras. So uh, a native app is allowed, and because they are sitting on the operating system and device, is allowed and able to manage and control all the different things. Okay, all the different things on your phone, depending on how much permission is given, of course. Now you have hybrid application. Okay, before you look at hybrid applications, you look at the middle part. It's actually just an operating system device and also a wrapper. Now, instead of you write an app, right? You write a wrapper app. Now, this wrapper app, they wrap around different things. So, for example, hardware access, native UI elements, web views, and also your application sits on top of that. So that little layer in between, right, is sometimes we use Ionic or sometimes we use React Native. Now, the beauty of using React Native and Ionic is that you only have to write the program once. Okay, once you write the program once in React or Ionic, this program or this app will be compiled into two different types. So it can be run directly on your iOS, and also it can be run directly on your Android phone. Okay, so you just have to write once, and you can use it on iPhone and also Android phone. Now you might be asking me, what's the limitation between the hybrid app and also the native app? The difference between is the amount of resources you are able to access. So if you are using a relatively less resource intensive, you're not designing a game, you're not designing something like graphic rendering, something that takes up a lot of computational power of your phone, hybrid app works just as well. Okay, works well as per normal. The last one is a web application. Now, for many of you who are just starting up, you want to show some prototype to your clients, you want to show some POCs, or what we call in startup terms, you want to show some minimum viable product, and that's where you can consider to use a web application. Now, the web app is for you to run your program, enter your URL, it run as a website, but this website is optimized for your browsers. Okay, so you can run the web application in your browsers as a mobile application. Now, this is very good, especially if you have just some business applications, want people to sign out, take some of their information. You don't really need those things like camera access or GPS access. Web app works just as well. Okay, and in the boot camp, we'll teach something called Bootstrap. Okay, in our FS360 program, we'll teach something called the Bootstrap, which is a CSS framework that helps you to write a program or mobile website that can be run on the console, tablet, browsers, and also your mobile phone. Okay. So for those that you're trying to enter the app development scene, you can consider Objective-C or Swift if you are developing for iOS. Objective-C is something that looks like this. It's an extension of the C language, so it has the same thing. You have the class names, you have the variables, you have the instance method, but it's declared in a more in a different way. You have to follow a very strong way of writing the syntax, so it might take you a while just to get used to it. And if you can also look at Swift. Swift is the next generation language that Apple is trying to push, so it's easier for users, easier for developers to understand. So you can see the code is much cleaner. I think at this stage, I can safely say that most of the apps can be developed using Swift quite successfully, except some of the key features and also framework they are still porting it over. Now this is Android. Okay, Android is it looks like Java. Yeah, it looks very much like Java. And the problem with Android is that you need to deal with a lot of devices. Okay, very important. So there are too many, I have to say it 3 times. Way too many devices. You have Samsung, you have Xiaomi. Nowadays, even in you have Android boxes. Now you also have Xiaomi TV. You also have, even within Samsung itself, I lost count of the number of devices and number of resolutions. And not to mention, you have portrait mode and also landscape mode. So you actually need to be a very decent programmer in order to code for Android, because you need to handle a lot of different cases. Yeah. So, yep, that concludes the part 1. Okay, that's the technology part. I hope it gives you a very good understanding that covers most of the programming languages that are required for today. Of course, there are other things like Ruby, like R, what else? Golang. There are more modern languages that you can consider as well. But the one that I've just mentioned to you are the one that is commonly used, or most of the companies are hiring. Since today we're talking about launching your coding career, right? So I'll only talk about those that are popular. Make sense, yeah? All right. So the next thing is we're going to look into your career prospect, which is most of you are very concerned. Now, this is the chart that I was talking about. This is a survey from Red Monk. Okay, we Q1, 2018. If you look at the left hand side, right, the popularity on Stack Overflow by number of tags. So for those that you don't know, right, Stack Overflow and GitHub are 2 places that software developers live on. Stack Overflow is a website where we go there to post questions or answer questions and to get help from your peer developers. GitHub is an open source project repository. So a lot of the open source projects are actually hosted on GitHub. All right, makes sense, yeah? So the one on the bottom one is the popularity rank of GitHub by the number of projects. So how many people actually use the particular language to run their projects, and then how many people are actually using it on Stack Overflow by the number of tags that of the question that they ask. Okay, so to make things very simple, just go straight all the way to the top right. Okay, top right, you look at the first language, which one you see is JavaScript. Okay, like I mentioned, JavaScript is so popular because it can be used. It's a bit of the unfair advantage here, because you can use JavaScript on the front end and you can also use JavaScript on the back end. So this is the part that's unfair. But follow that, you can see that Python is catching up very well. So there are a lot of projects on GitHub that's actually written using Python. And then you have C++ and C#. So C# is still quite popular because of the enterprise support and the legacy system issues. And also Java is there. Yeah? JavaScript sit right on top of Java. And then apart from that, you have Objective-C, C language. Now, Swift language also picks up quite well, right? It's in probably the second column in the on your right hand side. So it's about 80%, popularity there. Now, if you look at you look further down, then you can find some of the very old language there. In between, you have Pascal, and then you have ASP, you have Julia. You have also different languages there. But if you look at the one on top right, it's because of the development of the web technology. So JavaScript, Python, PHP, C#, Ruby, and anything else that I missed? No, yeah, CSS as well. CSS is there. So these are the language that people mostly use, so that you have a lot of programs or projects that's hosted by GitHub. And also you have a lot of questions on Stack Overflow by the number of tags. Okay, makes sense? So next we look at the career prospect. Of course, we look at the salary. Salary of a software engineer in Malaysia, you average about 50,000 per year. So the job prospect for a software engineer is actually not that good, in Malaysia, because the highest pay you can get on a very senior level is about 100,000 per year. So you are actually hired to do a lot of the C++, engineering stuff. So software engineers, in this particular case, we look at the skill sets that they require you to have engineering skills. So you're looking at things like bots. Okay, your IC, your chipset, those are the things that require your software engineering skills. And a lot of time, if you read through the job description, they're looking for people who knows a bit of C and C++. Those are the job scope of a software engineer. Now, if we look at those legacy systems, right, there are a lot of people that are actually hiring Java developers. But again, in Malaysia, it's getting lesser and lesser because a lot of our jobs are actually exported. Okay, we exported our opportunities to other countries like India. Yeah, so a lot of we can easily find Java developers in India, and not only they develop Java, they also develop Spring and the traditional Java. So those are more for the core developers. Yeah, so they work a lot in Java, and then people in this job generally don't have more than 10 years of experience. So in Malaysia, right, people who have 10 years of experience, they tend to jump ship to other jobs. So the problem with C, C++, and also Java is that you sort of like, you don't want to get out of your comfort zone, right? If you're very used to C and C++ already, you might as well just stay here because the demand is not that huge, and then the supply also, not many people are fighting against the job with you. But the prospect of the job, personally saying, I don't really have many people to come to me to ask us or ask lead about, hey, do you have any Java developers to hire, or do you run any Java courses? I do most of the training through in-house training or corporate trainings because they need to upskills. Yeah, they need to know what are the latest security features of Java, for example, or they want to know how to use Java to build certain application or speed things up. Now, if you are talking about big data and also Hadoop, there's a large group of people, they also learn how to use that, okay, how to program Java in Hadoop. So that's a totally different story. But again, in Malaysia, there are not that many people that use Hadoop, probably less than 1%, I would say, seriously, especially in the industry. So now, if you're looking at Java developer, you might as well try those jobs in banks, yeah, banks or those companies that have a lot of clients, they have legacy system for you to support, that'll be good. But personally, this is very personal thing. I don't find too much challenge in those jobs as well, because the subsequent projects, right? If I'm the consultant or I'm the architect, I would say, come on, don't use Java or don't use Glassfish unless you really have to. Yeah, that'll be always be my advice. And next thing, we look at mobile developers quickly. Yeah, iOS developer actually gets paid not too bad. Yeah, the total pay can go up to 150,000 per year. The good things about iOS developer is you can do it freelance, right? Because you can develop a mobile apps and you can publish to an app store anywhere in the world. But C, C++, firmware developer, Java, the software engineers, those that a bit of the old school, and you always have to work within your the the place or the office of your company. Otherwise, you always have to work at the client side. Yeah, you can't really enjoy the luxury about. I never seen somebody hire freelance C or C++ developer. Very, 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 very rare. Yeah. Okay, so on average, their median is about 59, close to 60,000. So quite a bit of my students, they took the FS360 program and they become iOS developer. This is one way. I also have some of the students who are mobile apps developer who join the program and become a full stack developer to upskill themselves. Either way is fine. Yeah. Okay, so this is iOS developer. Now, Android developer, slightly less. Yeah, if you look at the total pay, right, iOS is about 150,000, Android is about 130,000. 130,000 is about almost 10,000 per month, close to 10,000 per month. So, and funny thing is, if you look at read the second line, right, most people move on to other jobs if they have more than 10 years of experience in this career. A lot of my students also, they get fed up after they develop Android apps for a while, unless they have the luxury of suddenly their apps become a hit, or this app, like for example Facebook, right, it has to be existed in all sort of different devices. Then this is something doable. I still remember the good old days of Grabs, right? When they started to teach those taxi drivers, uncles, to use, like nothing, no offense, but those uncles, they're not so used to these sort of gadgets like the younger generation. So when they use Android phone to install the Grab driver app, they're very fed up. They're very angry because you got all sort of different problems. Need to install, uninstall. This is just installation problem, not to say the app itself got other bugs, right? Yeah. So what they did is, I think they bought 1,000 Android phone, 1,000 Samsung phone. They're rich, right? Yeah? And they install the Grab Android apps on the phone, and then they give the phones to those drivers for free. Yeah, this is what happened. Sidetrack a little bit. So this is the market for Android developers. So all this information are from I got it from Payscale, payscale.com. Yeah, you can have a look after this as well. Yeah, don't have to do it now. And then let's look at web developer. Now, web developer is my favorite because number one, you can use it to do your freelancing. Okay. Number two, you can start your own business, right? You just have to buy some sort of templates and then look at some design. That's for me. I'm not very good in design. If you're very good in design, just open a text editor. Okay, type some HTML code, put out some CSS, nine graphics, and then you have a website. Very fast, very easy. You have a website. That's for a small business owner. And if you are a startup founder, okay, you can pick up web development skills relatively fast. You don't have to always go and find a technical co-founder, for example, right? You can always use that to test your idea. You don't want to waste time on the idea that's not going to work. I mean, you know that your idea is going to work, but you just need to test it out using some of the POC or MVP techniques. Then web development is something good. Now, if you're working, mid-career web developers, their salary is usually around 75,000. Okay, the highest can go to 140,000, 142,000 to 150,000, approximately that mark. Okay, depending on how senior you are and how experienced you are. A mid-career web developer is somebody who has worked in web development for 4 or 5 years. The good things about web developer is, like I mentioned earlier, right? You can work anywhere that you want, but of course you have to be hardworking because there's a lot of movement, a lot of changes, updates in web technologies as well. So if you're committed and you're willing to learn, web development is actually a better career path, a more flexible career path. There's no good or bad, right? I'm not saying C or C++ is better than whatever, or Java is bad in a sense. Yeah, those are the talks that people like to got into. I don't like that sort of talks. Okay, yeah. If you want to do a particular language and then use a particular tools to solve a problem, just go ahead and do it. But it's about picking the right tools for your own, right? The one that suits your hand. Yeah, like Thor finally find his hammer. Those sort of feelings. Yeah. Okay. Now in startups, right, they hire web developer all the time. Yeah, I never seen startups, unless they're working on fintechs, they need to adhere to, like, for example, Bank Negara kind of policies. They need to write AS400 servers. Otherwise, most of the startup, you ask them, 10 out of 10, they are hiring full stack developers or hiring mobile apps developer at least. Yeah, and for those who hire mobile apps developer, they still need to hire full stack developer in the end. Yeah, either they make a mistake, they realize that actually, my startup idea doesn't really need applications, or they need somebody to look after their backend. Yeah, either one. Okay, now you look at Damakan, right? A senior full stack developer that they are hiring is they're happily paying 35,000 if you are good, and give you 4% of the shares, even, right, of the equity. So this is the current market. Damakan is a funded startup in Malaysia, based in KL. Now, if you look at freelancing, this market is good. Freelancing, meaning that you don't have to get freelancer jobs in Malaysia only. Yeah, in Malaysia and Singapore, or even Thailand, right? Most of the friends and my students who attended the class before, they usually get things like referral or word of mouth. They hardly go to Fiverr and freelancer.com or Upwork. They don't really have to go through that route. They simply got more than enough jobs. Yeah, you just need to spend a bit of time, build a couple of side projects, show to people that you have the skill set, and then things will, the word will spread. Yeah, if I send a message to the group of startup friends that I have in Malaysia, right, we call it the 250 million group. Usually, okay, the number one that gets picked up the fastest, is data scientist. The second one is full stack developer. You tell them, I got somebody who knows how to build full stack application, whether they're junior or they're a bit inexperienced. They don't care. They'll sapu you first, because if they don't take you, their competitor or some other startups, they will take you eventually. Okay, so freelancers allow you to have the freedom. I used to do freelancing quite a lot before I turned into consulting business. So freelancing gives you the freedom that you can work everywhere. It funded most of my university studies before I get my scholarship as well. The worst case scenario, right? This is looking at West Coast US kind of pricing. You don't have to be based there in order to do this. As long as you can tahan the time zone difference, right? You get meetings with your client, jump on Skype call with them, keep them posted about the progress. You get bad clients once in a while, okay, but you get good clients. They're genuine people who wants to build their website, get things done as well, right? So 60 to 80 US dollar, yeah, that's the lowest mark that you're looking at. And then the highest, or on average, right, you get 120 to 140. So let's say we are a bit conservative, like, yeah, on average you get about 100 US dollar per hour. Yeah, that's the freelancing rate in US. So today's market is about 400 ringgit per hour, normal rate, right? Yeah, yes. And look at the things that I highlighted on my left hand side, right? Just for development. If you are somebody who can do development and at the same time you can do something else, not only full stack, probably you can do iOS development or you can do design. Yeah, you can easily form a team. You can easily form a agency, 2-3 person team, just to take up a larger scale of the project. Yeah, not a problem at all. It's good money. Okay. Now, before I go on to the next one, any questions?
Okay, we have some questions here, a list of them in fact, but should we keep them for the end or should we ask them right now?
Okay, if there's no burning questions, I'll love to keep them in the end so that we have a better flow now.
A
Just
good
to
Q&A.
see.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
then
we'll
let's
keep it in.
continue and
Yeah.
we'll keep it for later then. All right.
Sure. Thanks, Ruben. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is working versus freelancing versus business. Okay, I briefly mentioned about those things already. So let's go straight into it. The problem with working is that you're working in the corporate environment. So some people, you just like to have team. Yeah. I'm not saying good or bad about corporates, but I myself personally, I'm not someone who suit the environment. So I don't really like 9 to 5 job. I work more than 15, 16 hours. You can ask Ruben. Yeah, I hardly sleep. It's not that I'm lazy, okay, but it's just that I enjoy the freedom to be able to do what I want, and I don't like to attend meetings. Yeah, I love to talk to people. I love to run webinars. I love to teach people how to do stuff, but I just don't like to sit in meetings that people go around the tables, report stuff, and then eventually the output is probably just a minute, and then yeah, you look at the table, got some free food and then high tea. Yeah, it's not criticizing anybody. Okay, we still need larger organizations to have things like SOP, to have structures, to have programs and stuff like that, to look after the benefits, to look after the entire hierarchy of a company so that things will move. And I run big companies before, so I understand that when things get bigger, right, the company itself is just a concept. Yeah, let's say, for example, Alibaba. Alibaba is a concept, but Jack is the head or the leader of the entire concept. You have to, for those that background, if you look at my background again, right, I worked in government before, I worked in the academic before, I worked in the industry before, and I also worked in startup before. It's just that for me personally, I think startup environment suits me better because I run faster. I still have the capability and just to run those things. So when it comes to software development, right, if you're somebody who likes to have structure, who likes to have benefits cover, who likes to let me choose a better words, yeah, you like the environment of having a team to work together on solving a problem. That's why previously I said it doesn't matter which path or which route that you take. Okay, but if you are somebody who has the skill set of Java, C++, working in a team, in a bigger team, actually is to your advantage, because if you're alone, right, to handle those architecture stuff is actually quite tiring. Yeah, it's very daunting. Unlike web development or mobile apps development, because our projects are usually relatively smaller. Yeah, like for example, Intel, the entire software development team for testing unit, the usual size of students I train is about 15. Yeah, the average I train 15 people at one point of time, because there are too many components to track, too many reports to write, and too many points of failure that you need each other to watch each other out. Okay, you got the idea. So, and another language that is suitable for working environment is C Sharp. Yeah, there's a lot of enterprise program that requires the skill set of C Sharp and .NET. Yeah, so if you plan to work, okay, enter corporate, yeah, Java, C Sharp, C++ are the language that you need to pick up. Okay, now if you're into freelance, okay, you probably not at company. So freelancing is not so much about running a business. Yeah, freelancing is basically you be your own boss / you be your own employee. So a freelancer, you have to be very, very, very disciplined. Okay, you still need to learn how to write proposals. You still need to learn how to pitch to clients. You still need to learn how to set your own pricing right. That's another whole lot of topics. I mean, you can talk to me or drop us an email if you have specific questions in terms of freelancing. We have hell lot of strategies to teach you how to set up your price, how to pitch to your customers, how to prepare your proposals and stuff. I recommend you that you don't prepare proposals. Okay, your work should speak for you. Yeah, not you speak for yourself. At the beginning of freelancing is tough. Usually to get the very first client is hard. I've been there, done that before. My very first freelancing project was 2,000 Aussie dollar. I mean, if you convert to ringgit, 6,000 at that time as a student. I was washing dishes and then making kebab in the restaurants, earning $10, $11 per hour, compared to, wow, suddenly my first freelancing project in Australia, like, yeah, a $2,000 project. But there's a lot of things that you need to be looking after, okay, if you want to become a freelancer. Now, in terms of what do you need to learn or what the languages you need to pick up, freelancing, you need to look at the market. Okay, if your market is to focus on Malaysia and Singapore, I would say web development knowledge is the one that you need to have. At least pick up you don't have to have the full set or the full stack development capability, but you need to have the knowledge. If you're somebody who doesn't like to write backend codes, you don't like to write database queries, that's okay. But you need to know how to call the database queries. You need to work with some other backend teams. All right. And freelancers, I still recommend you to have the full stack, right? Yeah? But some of you are more on the artistic side, right? You're on the design side. Then you can look at how designer works. And then, but if you are a back-end developer, a bit more like myself, I don't have any design background, then you probably want to enhance and also strengthen your front-end design skills like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. You don't have to know how to design. You need to know how to modify the code. You buy a template from the marketplace, right? It's only costing you like 10, 12 US dollar. You just need to know how to modify those code, put in some wordings there, help your client to set things up, buy a domain name, host their website. Itu saja. That's all you need to know in order to become a freelance developer. Now, speaking from my personal experience, freelancing not only gives me the monetary benefit, okay, it increased my incomes, it gives me a lot of freedoms to help me when I was studying, but it also give a lot of my students the type of lifestyle that they want, especially like in KL. If you're sick of going to work every morning 9 o'clock, you need to get jammed from 7 o'clock to spend 2 hours in the bus, spend 2 hours in the traffic, or spend hour plus in the MRT when you go home, right? Freelancing is actually not a bad route to try. You can try it out and then see how it goes. Okay, so this is freelancing. Now the last one is business and startup. So that's why I keep emphasizing is that freelancing is different from business and startup. Freelancing is basically still a service industry. All right, you get clients and then you help them to build websites, you help them to solve their problems. But if you're running a business, you basically help your clients to solve their problem using a tool or using a website, for example. Now, the difference between business is that you have a lot of other things that you need to look after. It's more on the strategy level and not just on the tactical level. So you need to know what are your digital marketing strategies, how do you run your A/B test, what are the titles, what should the color of the buttons look like, and those are the things that's very on the strategy level. So you need to learn the right test, and also you need to learn the right strategy to be implemented for your business to run properly. And a lot of business, they got stuck today because digitalization, okay, or in corporates, they'd like to call this digital transformation program. How do they come up with a digital leader who will lead their company from the existing physical brick and mortar shop to an online store, for example? Now, if you are a startup, right, startup talks about two things all the time, okay? In Magic, or in my definition when I was director, there are two things about a startup: high scalability and also high growth. Now, if you don't make use of software or web application as your platform, right, how are you going to scale your company to be able to scale beyond the country? Let's take Grab as an example. Now, I'm in Thailand now. I can still call a Grab. What is the technology behind it? Is the web technology, okay? Is the web development technology that enables that to happen. A lot of the things that you've seen, like YouTube, eBay, Facebook, they sometimes they call themselves a data company because they mine your personal data. They do a lot of modeling, AI analytics on your information. But before that, they're actually all web companies, right? They're websites in a blunt way. But they're websites, but they are not a web development or web design companies. They're using website to solve a particular problem. So YouTube is to solve your content problem, your video hosting problem. Google is to host your search engine. Yeah, is to host your index of the web pages. Now, Facebook is to host your users, your personal data, your images, your photos, and yada yada yada. So they're all solving different problems, but the common layer is they're all using web technologies and mobile technologies. Okay. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is how do you actually begin? Now, to begin is something that is very difficult, because to take your first step like a baby, right, is hard. If you plan to learn something like Java, C or C++, your best place to go is to do a uni program. Okay, university program, degrees program, they give you all the necessary fundamentals that you need to know. So I was lucky because I picked up EE when I was in my diploma in Singapore. So all the electricals background, that helps me to understand assembly language, Java language, C++ language very well. If you don't have an opportunity, or you are not coming from that background but you want to enter a coding career, right, I don't recommend picking up those, because it's not something that will give you a lot of opportunities, or give you a very good career path. In the sense, it's not, your career path is very limited, your career options. Yeah, but if you are somebody coming from existing C++ background, then feel free to enter that, and then from there you continue to pick up the skills and then to solve other problems. That's okay. For those of you who are coming from the legal Microsoft background, Visual Basic, you can also consider C# and ASP.NET as one of your alternatives, so that you can learn how to build websites on top of that. And then later on, when you go into those operation sites, then you can pick up things like cloud computing and also Microsoft Azure. Okay, those are the two. Now, for those of you who are totally new and you're at the age where you want to learn how to do programming, how to enter the coding career, and like Ruben mentioned before, or you have seen in a lot of our advertisement or a lot of our emails that we have been sent out lately, is about the web technologies. Okay, now when you are learning web development, right, we totally understand and aware that there are a lot of technologies out there. But my advice for you is to become a jack of all trades, master of some. Okay, you position yourself as a T-shaped career. Yeah, so you reach very wide. don't limit yourself to, oh, this one too hard, I don't want to learn. I only want to learn JavaScript, I don't really want to learn HTML. Why do I need to learn HTML? Sorry, why do I need to learn JavaScript when I'm just a front-end designer? Okay, I can just focus on HTML and CSS. I don't have to learn all the databases. I think these are some of the thinking or misconceptions that people have. You pick up the skills, you pick up the lingos, you understand what are the tools, how things work. Doesn't mean that you have to use it or you have to write the programs every day, right? Once you form a T-shape already, you master a few, you specialize in the niche, and you become very good in those niche. So for example, in my case, when I started, I focused a lot on the back end. I'm very upfront. My front end is not that good. I'm very good at writing front end programs. So I'm JavaScript, jQueries, those are the stuff that I master it. HTML, CSS, I master all the effects. I did not master the design, but I master how to create those effects that my client wants. Those are the difference. Okay. Now, for some of my students who are data scientists or who are mobile developers, even, right? Okay, they say I learned the full stack development because I don't want to rely on other people to help me to do my job. Okay, for example, in some of the examples later I will talk about. If you don't know how to write backend code, but you want to develop a front end, you want to develop a mobile applications, who are you going to speak to? Who is going to help you to write your own backend program? Then you have to work with other colleagues, right? But that's okay because you already know what are the language, what are the tools, how long they will take. Now, even you are a manager level or you are a business owner today, you are going to outsource some of the tasks to an external team. That with this knowledge, it makes sure that you understand how long does it take, what is the actual cost. Otherwise, you'll be getting 10 different quotations and then 10 different quotations telling you 10 different things. Yeah, you don't even know where to start with. These are the common pain points that students will face when they decided what language they need to learn. Okay, so if you are from a legacy system background, Java, C++, then continue to pick up your skills and then enter the career where you build legacy systems, enterprise systems, console applications, window application. Those are your forte. For students who are into the web development technologies, for those who want to enter the modern trend, okay, you want to future proof yourself, right? My advice would be jack of all trades, master of some. Yeah, master some of the key skills that you need to know, but make sure that you understand the entire spectrum. Okay, reach wide, position yourself narrow. Now, thanks very much. I will hope that in the past hours, it has been well spent so far for all of you. Unfortunately, I can't cover everything that you need to know in an hour. I think we sorry, I overrun a little bit because there's so much stuff I can share with you and with my experience. Now, if you feel a bit overwhelmed by what I shared today, I only scratched the surface a little bit today. Yeah. And I have a special offer for you. So for those of you who are interested and you want to pursue your career and further learn about full stack web development, we have a special offer for you. And I'm going to make a special proposition for you tonight. Now, this is the student I mentioned earlier, right? He's Manfai. He's actually an iOS developer at Cycle and Carriage, or CC. CC is the company that sell Mercedes-Benz. Now, as an iOS developer, when we first met, right, he actually does not have any full stack experience, so he's kind of stuck. He is the guy that I mentioned. You always have to write programs, and then you need to knock on other people's doors. Say, hey, can you help me to write a bit of the database queries? Can you help me to adjust or fix some of the issues on the servers? So after he attended the training, the FS360 training, back then was a mean stack development, it gives him the skill sets that he needs to build advanced features for his apps. So now he got a job in CC. He can build all the enterprise programs for Cycle and Carriage. Now another student that I have is from Melbourne. Yeah, correct. Jessica is from Melbourne. She's a pharmacist, so learning full stack development helps her to become a freelancer, and she's able to work according to her own schedule. I still remember when I met her in GA, General Assembly. That time she was like, Guilo, they look at their lifestyle. Very important. They prioritize their lifestyle, but because of the work right? She lives quite far from the city. So because of the work nature, she has to travel to cities, and then she has to put the kids with the nanny, those stuff, right? So becoming a freelancer actually allows her to work according to her own schedule, and she's what some of the feel that they're very disciplined. So she set her own hours. She knows when to work. Usually, for my case, is I know when to work, but I don't know when to stop. Yeah, but she's those type that she knows when to work, when to stop. So freelancing is actually very suitable for her. And after picking up the full stack development skills, she has made it. Now you have two options here. A lot of time, like I mentioned, right, you can continue to learn on your own. That's okay. There are plenty of resources out there online. You can spend a bit of the money, hundred or thousands of dollars, figure things out on your own. Okay, because you're basically surveying around using your own time and resources. But a lot of time you'll get stuck, frustrated, and moving on very slowly because you don't have any support. You don't have a mentor. You don't have a coach to guide you. So those are the problems. You don't have a system or framework to follow. Yeah, put it in a simple way. Eventually, it will take you about 3 to 5 years of your life, and then you waste a bit of money and your time. Yeah, money is still okay, but time is the part that you wasted because the technologies that you learn, right, they'll evolve and move very, very fast. So this is what I say about the Band-Aid or Handy Plus approach. You go online, you learn how to fix a bit of the smaller problems, and then you learn very slowly, I would say. Or you can learn from a proven system for full stack development. Now you can learn from a mentor or a coach who has not only been there, done that, but he's still practicing it. A lot of the people who teach full stack development, they know how to teach, but they are not actively involved in the scene anymore, right? They are not participating. Okay, they learn some of the things and then they do not upgrade themselves. But in our case, myself and the mentors, we are a bit different because we are still actively developing programs and we are still developing products for companies. And also we have trained hundreds of people already. Now, here's the program, the special offer that I'm going to introduce to all of you is our Full Stack Development 360 program. It's a complete hybrid training program for creating, building professional full stack web application. Okay. Now, allow me to use a bit of time to explain to you what does a hybrid training program works. Okay. This might be your first time listening to the terms. What is a hybrid program? Whenever you learn, right, you always have a dilemma in this digital era. You can learn online, that's fine. Yeah, there are tons of online videos out there. You can go to my website, you can go to Lead website, you can go to our YouTube channel. We constantly generated content weekly basis so that you can learn from us. But what happened is that when you learn online, right, you look at my students, they say, he's SK, he spent quite some money on time on Udemy and Coursera. Though those courses are not that expensive. They have videos and stuff, but they only show you the techniques. And the frustrated part is that if your configurations are slightly different with the instructors, right, it won't work. Yeah, you follow everything. You must have the experience like, okay, you follow everything like cooking show like that. You follow the recipe, but somehow the end product doesn't look the same of the one that's being cooked. Yeah. So what he shared with us last time when he came to the class is that he ended up spending a lot of time trying to figure out what went wrong, debugging, fixing stuff, right? But it would be good if there's somebody to provide support or guide him through the entire process. So he needs a system, process, and also a framework. This is SK experience. Okay, but the dilemma continues. Remember, SK said it would be good if somebody is there to guide you, to teach them, to mentor them. MK said that Dr. is good, okay, and patience when it comes to teaching. This is the part where he feel like Asian culture, like he feel he's a bit shy and paiseh because he feel like he's just slow. Yeah, the whole programming thing is brand new to him. He dare not to keep asking questions because he's afraid that he might slow the whole class down. Yeah, it's very common whenever in my workshop or my training classes, I say anyone has any questions, people usually just shy, keep quiet, and if they got chance they ask me afterwards. If they don't have chance, they just keep quiet lah. Yeah, it will be good if you can have video recording so that you can practice again and again when you go home and then follow it through. I think this way he will learn better. this is a very good feedback from MK. So in the Full Stack 360 program, I think Shafiq also have similar feedback as well, right? Some people, you just need to view the videos a couple more times and then look at how people has done it, and then slowly you will get used to it. So the solution that we are providing here is something like this. Now we give you the online tutorial, okay? You learn at your own time, right? And learn at your own pace, but we also give you the physical class. And this is what we call the hybrid program. Yeah, online tutorial plus physical class. Now, the hybrid program is over 8 hours of videos and training content with lifetime access. This is unlike the other programs that you purchase out there, because I'm not here to sell you information program. I'm here to help you to transform. Okay, whether you're transforming into a freelancer, you're transforming your career to make a progress, or you're transforming your business. That's where Lead and myself, we are here to help you. Yeah, so you get lifetime access whenever we have any upgrades of the videos for our upcoming classes. You don't have to pay anything. You straight away get the update. So whatever you sign up, this thing will be there with you for the rest of your life. And on top of that, we also put in another 4 days of the physical classes. So this 4 days physical class, you are allowed to come to the class, participate in the class, and we'll walk you through whether you have any problems in your coding. Following the online tutorials, we will have myself and also 2 other experienced tutors to help you with that. So the entire program with the 8 hours of video and training program, and also the 4-day physical class, I'll be there to train you, to coach you, and also to mentor you personally. Okay. Now, the online training part, let's go into a bit more details. We have 8 different modules. Module 1, we talk about web development, how to set up your workspace, install the tools. For those who have attended the previous webinar, you know what are the tools that we are using, right? So how to structure your website using HTML and style your website using CSS. That will be your first module. And then after that, you have front-end development. So key major concept in JavaScript, enhanced interactions with jQuery, and building a responsive website using Bootstrap. Now, what I didn't get to show you tonight is that how to use Bootstrap to build a responsive website. That this website, you build once using the Bootstrap syntax, okay? The way that we program it. You can view it on mobile phones, TV, large screen, monitors, any device. This is the beauty of using Bootstrap. Okay. Now in module 3 and module 4, we talk about the back-end development. Remember, we talk about front-end, we talk about back-end. Module 3 and module 4, we actually build things like using Node.js to build our entire web servers. And then we build Express.js, and also how to manage your different packages using Node Package Manager, or what we call the NPM. In module 4, I'm going to teach you how to create front-end components using Vue.js and build a single page application. Now, a lot of times, if you see those amateurish website, right, when you click on a single page, they'll go to a second page, and then the entire page has to reload. So in terms of the user experience, this is not consistent, it's not smooth, so it's a bit mafan. Yeah, but if you look at Facebook, right, they have done it in a very slick way. If you realize that Facebook is designed for one thing only, you just have to keep scrolling. You don't have to do anything. All the interaction is actually done on the same place, right? Unless you go to a different page, like for example, you're going from your feed post to a group page, from a group page to a fan page. Otherwise, all the interactions that you can done on a single type of content is just scrolling up and down. Yeah, pay attention to that, and then you realize that's what happened. And from there, we will teach you how to handle events and also handle two-way data mining. Yeah. So how do you have a view model to store all your data so that you can interact with the users for them to add things, modify things, and changing the content of the records. Now, module 5 and module 6, we go into the route of storing your data. So once you know how to display your data, once you know how to configure your data, you need to know where to store your data. I'll be teaching you how to use a real-time database, Firebase. Okay, this is a database provided by Google, and you'll learn how to perform CI/UD operations on Firebase, how to create, how to retrieve, how to update your content, and lastly, link your application with Firebase. So how do you put your content into the database? And last part is to build a full-scale application, implementing all the RESTful architectures, configure custom routes, and create API endpoints. Now, RESTful architecture is a modern architecture that a lot of the companies, major companies, they're using it. For example, Uber is using that so that their data analytics team, their front-end team, their customer service team, they can all access to the same information, but using different systems. So you don't have to just write in a particular language. Throughout this entire program, I'll be teaching JavaScript because that is the first language that you need to learn no matter what when you pick up web development. But let's say later on you go to a company, your existing team say that, okay, we are using Python. Okay, can you work with us? Yeah, yes, definitely you can. So that's what RESTful architecture is for. And then to teach you how to create custom routes and API endpoints so that you can share data with other applications as well. Module 7, Module 8, those are the crucial part. Authentication and integration. When you are building a website, right, you are not just building the website for your own consumption. Okay, in the modern web application, we talk a lot about collaborations. You need to enable the API, remember? So let's say you want to integrate with other services like email services, Google Analytics services, Facebook services, or Twitter services. How do you do that? This all covered in Module 7. And also we teach you in Module 8, the most important part is how do you put your entire web application online? Now you already have all your application done already, right? But it's all on your local machine, it's all on your desktop or on your Mac. How do you get a website like myself, drhanlao.com, and then put your program online? And how do you register your own domain name and deploy application to cloud? We will also teach you what is the difference between shared hosting and cloud application. To put in a simple way, shared hostings like GoDaddy or HostGator is a shared place that you can only put your files there. And if anything, you need to share all the resources with other users. But cloud application is something that's more future looking, meaning that you pay, let's say you pay $5 per month now, okay, for X amount of usage of bandwidth and storage. But later on, when your business grow bigger, you say, I want my users to have this server cannot tahan already. I want to have more users, more traffic. You just have to pay a little bit more. Let's say you pay $10, and then the cloud will be able to scale up to your demand. Okay, so this is what we are going to cover in our online training modules. There are 8 modules there. Okay, so now a lot of students up to this part already, they will ask me, Dr. Lau, mana itu mobile app? Okay, where's the mobile application? Now, in this full stack application itself, you don't have to worry about mobile apps application. You just have to focus about the full stack because the website that you build will automatically be a responsive website that you can open on your mobile phone. Okay, whether you're a small business owner, you are a startup founders, or you are freelancing, you want to showcase to your clients, the website that you build, that I'm going to teach you how to build, you can open it out on your mobile phone already. With a little bit of tweak, yeah, you don't have to specifically go and learn another one. Then from there, I will let you decide whether you want to go down the route of become a mobile app developer, front-end developer, or a full-stack developer. Remember, right? I said the reach, right? So the T-shape, jack of all trades, master of some. Okay, so in your online training, I'm going to teach you HTML, CSS, and JavaScript that's going to worth 789 ringgit. And also, we are going to teach you all the frameworks, which includes Bootstrap frameworks, Vue.js frameworks, and also jQuery frameworks. Yeah, these are the top 3 very popular JavaScript framework and CSS framework available in the market. It's highly on demand. Yeah, very highly on demand. People are hiring people who knows how to use just one of them. You know, if you know all 3 of them, that would be perfect. Yeah, this one will worth 1,097 ringgit. And also you have all the third-party services, Namecheap. I teach you how to register your own domain name, Firebase, how to store all the informations into web storage, real-time database, SendGrid to send your emails, and also Heroku, a cloud hosting system. All this will worth 997 bucks. Now the total online training encompass all this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All the different things here is going to worth you 2,083 ringgit. Now, another thing I would like to highlight to you is that all the things I'm teaching you here, right, is free. Okay, they are open source frameworks and is used by all the big giant companies that you've seen: Facebook, Google, eBay, Lazada, Airbnb, and Grab. So even if one day you want to become an engineer in this company, your skills that you learn in this bootcamp, okay, in those online videos, are going to be there to help you to get a job there. Yeah, of course, you need other skills like software engineering. You need to understand how to answer the interview question and stuff. But the good part is the things that you learn is no difference from the things that you use. Yeah, the only difference is the skill. Okay, I'll teach you the tools, the frameworks, and also all the application that you are going to need. And you don't have to pay any single cent just to use those frameworks. Okay, cool. Now, the next thing that I'm going to talk about is you look at this one. On the left hand side, there's what Facebook used to be, and then on the right hand side is what Facebook looks like today. So don't worry about your skills, right? A lot of you will be wondering, like, Dr. Lau, you think we can build Facebook in coming to your bootcamp for 8 hours online training plus 4 physical classes, is it? Short answer, I would say yes. Yeah, because we will make sure that you succeed. Yeah, we'll make sure that you know how to build a program. A lot of my students, whether they come from my data science bootcamp or they come from my full stack bootcamp, you can ask around. They bring their own problems to the class, so I will show them how to actually construct the thing, and they will go back and implement them themselves. On the left hand side is the very first version of Facebook. You look at how I wouldn't say ugly, yeah. I'm not a good designer, but how simple it is, how amateur it is, and comparing to the things that after 10, 12 years, how they have evolved. So don't worry about the first version that you view. It's not perfect. There's no perfect. Even Facebook, they're still upgrading their programs, upgrading their features every day. They recently changed from the globe icon to a bell icon, for example. So a lot of things, it can be done. It takes time, right? As long as you're committed, we're here to help you. Okay, now we counted the part of the online videos already. So now we're going to talk to you about the physical class. There are 4 days of physical training in July and August. The first session will be this coming weekend, 21 and 22 July. And the second session will be 11 and 12 August next month. All right. So the purpose of this class is very simple: to help you to enhance and strengthen your understanding of those concepts that you learn in your physical class, in your online class. It will be 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Hatch Petaling Jaya. And not only you get trained and mentored by myself personally, I will also bring around experienced instructors to make sure that the class, everybody gets equal attention in the class. The 2 instructors that I'm bringing this time will be Edmund and Kwan. Edmund, some of you have already seen him before. He is a data scientist in AirAsia, but he is also a very experienced Python full stack developer. Before this, he was working in a startup called Watch Over Me. So he built the products, a safety app to help people to use a mobile app to guide them to go home using the safest route. Now, on your right hand side is Kwan. Kwan is currently a min stack, full stack developer. So he developed things in MongoDB, Express.js, Node.js, and AngularJS as well. He's also an engineer in Sony last time. And not only that, with them, right, in the physical class, what we are going to teach you is how do you implement your full stack blueprint. Now, what is a full stack blueprint? A lot of you, when it comes to web development, you get confused. Worst case, you get lost because there are so many technologies out there. You know that you need to pick up this one, pick up that one, like a lot of Lego puzzles lying around. How do you put them, structure them into a application that's workable? And this is what we're going to teach you. So if you look at the center part, right, we start from the microservice architecture to construct a server. So remember the modern web architecture diagram that I showed you before. Everything starts from the server. So in the server, you learn how to use Node.js and Express.js. And then we teach you how to build your front-end side. The front-end side will be using your HTML, CSS, JavaScript, plus your Bootstrap framework, Vue.js framework, and also your jQuery framework. So once we settle the front-end and back-end already, we teach you how to store your data into Firebase. And then we teach you how to store things deploy your code onto the servers on your left hand side. Now, we are teaching you how to use Heroku so that you can use those servers and to serve content to your clients, whether your users are using laptop, mobile phones, or TVs, large monitor, doesn't matter. And even if you don't like Heroku, you can still use other paid services like Amazon, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud Platform, DigitalOcean, Linode, whatever. They are the same. They work the same because they are all cloud-based servers. It just everyone has different features, different ecosystem, and your different preference, of course. And then lastly, we'll also teach you how to connect your web application with external services. For example, GA, Google Analytics, the most powerful analytics website. It keeps track of your website visitors counting, how many people come to your website, how long they stay on your website, what are the pages they have browsed to, and stuff like that. And also we teach you how to connect to SendGrid so that you can send emails to the people who come to your website. So for example, you want to send email for notifications, you want to send emails to them for updates. You don't have to go through another website just to send emails. It can be done automatically through your web application itself. Okay, that's clear. So in this FS360, or what we call Full Stack 360 hybrid program, you will be taught how to build an inventory management system. Behind of we selecting an inventory management system is very simple. Inventory management system is something a lot of you you probably can relate to. But even though you haven't seen one before, on your right hand side is actually a dashboard, right? A dashboard, whether you are coming from a membership management background, you're coming from a library background, you're building an e-commerce platform, you're building a restaurant systems, right? All you need was the dashboard on your right hand side. So it teaches you how to use the inventory management system. The full-fledged management system will cover everything. Yeah, to manage the items availability, the amount of stock, and then the users, their records on your left. Yeah, so those are the things, the sales records that's on your left, right? So this thing you can relate to all the different businesses that I mentioned earlier, whether it's a restaurant business, you have a logistic business, or you're just building a simple booking website. The high level concept is the same. So that's why we choose the inventory management system to guide you through the entire process of building a full stack application. Okay, so what Reno told us after the bootcamp last time at CTEC is that he learned how full stack works. So the way he put it is very vivid. He's like, I got a fish rod here now. Hey, I know how to fish. So rather than watching online coding training video alone, right, those things that he has watched starts to make sense to him already. And of course, the instructors here are very patient and knowledgeable. Yeah. So it's a program that gives you the future-proof ability, right? So after you learn the program, after you attended the program, you know how to learn from other online videos as well. It's not just a band-aid or the patching approach anymore. You get the entire big pictures and you know how to implement them. Okay, so to wrap things up, you got full days of training 21-22 July this weekend, and then 11-12 August, 9 to 5 at PJ. You learn how to implement the full stack blueprint and guided workshop to build an inventory management system, and trained and mentored by myself personally. I will be there all the 4 days with you, but also I will bring along 2 experienced instructors with me. Okay, so the value of this will be 3,897 ringgit. So to sum things up, you got 4 days physical class with me, you got 8 hours of online training, and then you got all the course materials that will be given to you in PDF form, PowerPoint form, videos form, and also the source code for all the lab practicals. So you are not working in the dark. Okay, a lot of people when they go for training programs is you just learn to solve a small puzzles. Yeah, how to build let's say a Sudoku puzzle solvers, how to build a currency converter, for example. Those are I would call it puzzles. Yeah, but you're not learning how to build an entire system. And in this program, in this certification course, you learn how to build the entire system from end to end. And the total value is $7,074 ringgit. Now, you might be thinking that at this point, right, the price point is a little bit high. Okay, so if all this did was to learn how to build a full stack applications and progress in your career, right? Is to transform you into the next stage of your career, of your business, and turn your ideas into reality. Now, think about it. Would it be worth it? Okay. Now, even though if it's not, then what about learning all the tools just to make one single application, just one web application? Would it be worth it? The best person to talk to is Ruben. Okay. Now, Ruben, he is a digital marketer, but he's also a very talented audio musicians in our country. Okay, so he ran this blog website called Audio Mentor. So you can ask him, right, how much does it cost just for him if he were to build this website, without any of the full stack application knowledge? He has a couple of options. Hire a professional web design companies or the agencies that will start to charge him about, let's say, 10,000 to 15,000 just to build the website. Yeah. Or he can hire a freelancer who charges about 20 to 50 US dollar. Or in Malaysia case would be, I would say, 80 ringgit to 200 per hour, conservatively speaking. And if you're lucky, they will take about a month to finish it. So it'll be 20 days, 8 hours, 150, 24,000. Yeah, at least, at a minimum. So we haven't taken into account if there's any room for modification, changes and stuff. Or you can learn how to do it yourself. That will be one of the best investment that you can make. You can also build a professional website using all the open source and free tools, services from your laptop, if you have a solid process to follow. Okay, so now you know why this program, right, is a very, very good deal. If usually people pay for like 8 or 9,000 just for programming or full stack web development program, and those public courses that we run outside, right, is usually cost you about at least 6 or 7,000 at the minimum. Okay, now tonight, right, because is a special event, it's a webinar, so we open this up. So some of you already got the email. The general ticket for this sign up is 3,599 ringgit. So it will cover all the 4 things that I mentioned. But because this is a webinar, we usually throw in a couple of goodies for you. So at the end of the program, right, you will receive a certificate achievement. So this is a certificate program. There will be certificate will be signed by myself. And also, this program, right, is not for you if you're not committed to success and you're expecting shortcuts. Okay, a lot of people they're looking for a quick solution. Yeah, I'm not here to do that. And if you are somebody who expect immediate results and then you don't really want to put in effort, you need to be passionate about it. And only if we are willing to put time and committed to the steps, then you'll be success. If you don't fulfill these 2 criteria, this program might not be suitable for you. But if you're somebody, right, you're a web designer or junior developers who are looking to make progress in your current job, you want to become a full stack developer, you want to build web application for your own startup idea or business, or you just want to future proof yourself by learning web development programs, and this certification program is the best program for you. Okay, so when we were designing these, right, we have a couple of options. Number one is we can charge at a much cheaper rate to attract more participants. This is easier because less effort for us. But speaking from experience, looking at other failures, we know that the success rate, if we go this route, it will definitely be very low. Yeah, because of very little effort is going to be put inside. But what our team here, the approach that we took is we want to work on a solution that maximizes your investment. Okay, you're going to put in time and money for this program for sure, but a lot of effort is coming from myself and the team, and we make sure that we deliver results for you. So the bonus number 1 that we are giving you tonight is that the access to the private support group. Okay, you can share around with the alumni here is that this private support group worth 2,083 ringgit is a support groups where you are put inside a Slack group. It's a very secure and very private environment where everybody is here to learn about full stack development. So you can feel free to ask questions. All right, there's no stupid or silly questions or anything that you shouldn't ask. And those content can be from the online learning, from a physical class, anything related to web development you can ask here. And there are a lot of people there, not just myself, and also you have access to other alumni from previous classes, and also our instructors will be there as well. A lot of time, if I'm there to answer, I'll be the one who answer. But usually, you look at the right hand side, right? Before I get to answer, some of the previous participants, alumni, they're there to help you already, so they will answer before me. So don't worry. So this is a private support group. It's a bonus for you who join, and this will be to help you to get your results faster. Okay. Now, the second bonus is a lifetime warranty of this program that's worth 5,997 ringgit. What does a lifetime warranty means is that at any point of time, if you have we have any updates to the programs, or in the future you would like to come back for a refresher, you just need to let us know. Okay, you just need to let us know that you want to come back for a refresher class whenever we have openings and stuff like that. You can just come back, and the videos and the private chat group, everything will be there for the lifetime for you. So that some people, they might be worried like, okay, if I take this class now, maybe I don't have to use it right now, right? I want to use it to look for a job 3 months time. What if I forgot about how to configure a particular jQuery framework, for example? Yeah, no worries. You can always come back. The content, the online video site is always there for you. And whenever we make any changes or any update to the program, you are not required to pay a single cent. You will receive the latest updates just like everybody else. Okay, this is always my commitment to people who join, and for my data science program, and also for my full stack program. Now, to wrap things up, 8 hours of training, okay, 4 days of physical classes, coached and trained by myself personally in PJ, source code for all the lab practicals, private support groups, lifetime warranty, and also all the materials, PDF, PowerPoint files. Total value is 15,371. So sign up today, you get 3,599 ringgit only. I think I did update the slides. We only have 3 or 4 seats left. Yeah, definitely not 8. But since tonight is a special webinar, we usually do special promotion. So I'll pass the mic to Ruben to explain to you a little bit more.
All right. Thanks. So, what we're going to do is we're going to get the questions coming up soon. But before that, yeah, we do have 6 more seats in the class itself. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to publish up the final prize that we made available for all of you today. And I'm going to hit it up right here. All right. So instead of 3,599, we are actually putting up the cost for only 3,099. All right. Now this is going to be special for only tonight, and we only have 6 units left. Right. Now I know some of you are going to want to refer to the page of the landing page itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop it inside the chat box here, chat section here. All right. So you can refer to that. And if you want the link, a direct link to the discount offer, now again, we're giving you a special link that will only last till the end of tomorrow. So let me just give me some second here. Just going to copy that and put it inside the chat section as well. And then we're going to start answering our questions. Okay. Now again, if you have any questions about what we've just presented tonight, about the course itself, what time is it, when are we starting, anything like that, just go ahead and ask us in the chat section, and we'll be back to answer. Okay, so I'm going to put up a sticky message. Give me a sec here. All right, so special price for you is here. Only at 3,499. Now you won't get this price anywhere else except this webinar itself. Okay, so you won't see this anywhere else again, and it's only 6 units to this. So yeah, make a decision. All right, so let's start answering some questions right now, and let's see. Okay, now we have a lot of questions that have been asked for the past 2 hours. Again, thanks again for staying up to this point. We really appreciate you having you coming up to this point of time. Right, so I got all your questions all listed down here, and we're going to start with some questions. Okay, so All right, let's see. All right, so one question here, right? Does PHP and Ruby serve the same purpose? And which is better? So a lot of people are saying PHP is getting old. So should I learn PHP or should I learn Ruby? The question is, does right? So PHP and Ruby seems to do the same thing. So which should I learn? Right. All right, cool. Okay, I'm gonna answer. There's one question that which I'm gonna ask by Jiawing. So, do you recommend a person who has zero experience in IT field, right? So, someone like me reminds me of myself. So, a person who has zero experience in IT field to participate in your class and becoming a freelance or full stack web developer upon graduation, would you recommend that? Okay, guys, can you hear me on the mic here, or is just only Dr. Lau that you can't hear? So apparently, Dr. Lau, they can't hear your response. Okay, so while Dr. Lau fixes that, so the answer from Dr. Lau, just to reiterate what he'd say, is that it really depends on what you really want as a freelancer, right? So if you are to go from a full-time job into a freelancing model, that's going to be a very different kind of thing. So some people will say, yes, it's something that you can go for, but again, you have to think about it again. All right, so it's possible without an IT background to actually learn full stack web development and master it and then look for a job and freelance with it. But again, it depends whether you want to go freelancing or whether you want to do a full-time job thing. All right, Dr. Lau, you back? Okay, let's just wait for Dr. Lau to come back to the room, and he'll reconnect while I look at some of your questions again. Okay. Okay, we'll be right back. Yeah. Okay, Dr. Lau, can you speak? And okay, I think there's some connections problem in Thailand. So let's see what's Dr. Lau have. Okay, right now I'm going to go through the questions again and see if I can pick up any questions, interesting ones to ask Dr. Lau. Okay, Dr. Lau, if you're back, just let us know so we'll know that you are here.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Can you hear, guys? Can you hear Dr. Lau, guys? Yes.
You cannot hear.
Can you hear Dr. Lau? Yeah. Okay, cool. You're back, Dr. Lau. Cool.
Okay. Great, I'm back. Yep. Let's continue, Ruben.
All right, so we got more questions here, a lot of them, in fact. All right. Okay, so one question, I don't know who asked this, but I took down the question. So if a startup founder itself is a professional programmer or coder, does it mean that it will be totally cost-free to build a website or application? I'm going to take this and paste it down so you can read.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, so...
Can you all hear me?
Yeah, we all can hear you.
Okay, so the question is, if a startup founder itself is a professional programmer or coder, does it mean that it will be totally cost-free to create a website or application? Okay, this is a very good question, so I have to answer carefully. Yeah, usually for a startup founder, if you are the founding team, meaning that you play as the role of the CTO, right? At the early stage, yes, it's totally cost-free to create a website or application. So a lot of the startups that I mentored before, they are able to use these skills to pick up things like they build their MVP, minimum viable product. So they build their first version, second version of their product, they iterate it. If you watch the movies, The Social Network, right, that's basically what Mark Zuckerberg does. He doesn't put in too much effort into the UI per se, but he put in a lot of effort into gathering the content, gathering the images of people, and then talking to different universities to use his program. And at the early stage, he's all running it as his one-man show. Then only when you have other team members that come in, like for example, you have CEO who does the sales part, and then you have another teammate who does the business development part and things like that. Otherwise, if let's say your founding team is 2 to 3 people, it will be absolutely cost-free. Maybe a little bit of the cost will come from register your domain, which costs you about 30 to 80 ringgit per year, depending on what sort of domain name that you are getting. And also sometimes you have to pay a little bit, around 5 to 10 US dollar around there for your hosting. Yeah, if your application is more resource intensive. Otherwise, in most cases, the building the application or to create the website itself, right, is free.
Right. Good answer. Good answer. Okay, so next question. This is a very interesting one. What is the best programming language to learn if you want to work on the blockchain? So now we know blockchain is booming, right? So very good question. Very interesting one for me as well.
Okay, what is the best programming language to learn if you want to work on the blockchain? Good question. Usually, when we develop on blockchain, people learn from Go language, Golang. So you can look at Golang, golang.org. I'm going to paste the link. Yeah. So golang.org. Simply because there are a lot of people when they started building blockchain, they use Go. So there's a lot of framework that has been built using Go language. Yeah, so that will be the language that you can try.
Okay, I'm going to ask one more question here. There's one more very interesting one. So I think that a lot of people are looking to understand this question, right? So the question is, hold on. How long in hours does it take to build a web and mobile application, respectively, like Damakan, without payment gateway? So basically, how long does it take to build something like Damakan? I think I simplified that for you.
Okay, so the question is how long or how many hours does it take to build a web and mobile application respectively, like Damakan, without payment gateway? I think I saw another questions about payment gateway also. Yeah, to integrate with payment gateway is actually very easy. Yeah, payment gateway is not something like, for example, if you want to integrate with PayPal or iPay88 or a Bill Please, for example, that's the one that we are using, right? It's very easy as long as you follow through their documentation and put in the right piece of code. The hard part of building such application is that if you just plan to be a very simple and functional one, it will take you about approximately a month if you are not experienced or you are semi-experienced, meaning that you just graduated from our programs and then you seek some of the advice and help from us, and without too much of the customization. So the actual time that's going to eat into the developing hours, right, is actually the discussion part. So let's say if you are building it for another client or you are doing a freelancer project, then it will probably drag into 2 to 3 months because clients usually want to change things from A to B and then from B back to A and then A to C again. So these are the factors that would delay a project. If you are alone and building the project for yourself, I would say a good 1 month to 2 month maximum to build a web and mobile application respectively, like Damakan. Of course, the mobile application is not a full-fledged the native one lah. It's just a web responsive version or a native app wrapper, the hybrid version.
Okay. Now I hope that answered the question. All right, I'm going to pick another one here. Okay, so this is a question related to probably a program or a bootcamp that we are running, the Full Stack 360. So can a person start his coding career from a web development program, right? Is a computer science degree a must?
Okay. That's a good question. Computer science degree, no. CS degree is not a must. I get this question all the time because people would think that coming to a web development program, I must have some sort of IT degree. A lot of the skills that I pick up, right, or even when I'm now the MQA chairman. In universities, the degree program teaches you the fundamental. I'm not expecting university to teach you all the cutting edge or the industry movement because although universities work very closely with us to try to understand the industry movement and the trends, but because of the systems to make sure that the quality of the education is there, so usually university programs will focus a lot on the science part. This is exactly the very good questions because the computer science degree teaches you things like the algorithms, the data structures, the fundamentals of the programming part. A web development bootcamp is very practical, so it teaches you all the techniques, the tools that you need to build a web application, a full-fledged web application. And then from there, if you're interested to go into more of the things like, okay, how does Java programming works, what is the special things about the array and stuff, then only we extend from there, we take it from there. But long story short, you don't need a computer science degree program just to take a web development bootcamp, and you can start your coding career right after, as long as you are confident and you follow our process and system.
All right, cool. Now, guys, if you have any questions, guys and girls, if you have any questions about the Full Stack 360, now is the best time to ask me, Dr. Lau, or the team here, so we can really answer you any questions you may have about the program. Now, the program is going to start just next week, right? Just end of this week, in fact, on Saturday, right? It's going to start this coming Saturday. Now, once you register for the program tonight, or tomorrow, you get immediate access to all the online courses. You get to watch all the online courses, and then what happens then is you would come to the physical class at the end of this week, Saturday and Sunday, and basically ask questions and get started immediately, right? So imagine that you can get started immediately today and end of the week itself. Okay, so if you have any questions regarding the course itself or the program or anything related about coding, programming, you can always ask us in the comment section. Just go ahead and ask us anything else here. We will answer back here. So we'll be staying here for another few more minutes to answer all the questions that we have received so far. So just go ahead and let us know. Okay. Right. So while you put in your answers, typing down your answers, I have one more question here that I'm going to read out. And I'm going to type out, right? Okay. So is it okay to learn C# on our own after completing web development bootcamp? Normally, C# won't be covered in most development bootcamps.
Okay. Yeah. Good questions. So C# is a programming language that traditionally we use it for Windows Forms, right? I mentioned, or a bit of the console application. So it's perfectly fine that you learn C# after the bootcamp, because what is going to be focused on this bootcamp is HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and also all the related JavaScript framework. So once you got the basics already, especially you learn the MVC, model view controller mechanism, and you know how to set up the APIs, the difference between not just switching from current language to another language like C#. You can even take it from here if you want to pick up Ruby on Rails, or you want to pick up Python Django's. It's very easy to take it from there. So perfectly fine if you want to learn C# on your own. And I've been developing in C# and Azure for quite a while. So if there's any questions, feel free to ask me during the bootcamp. I can give you a lot of pointers, guidance, and resources for you to take on ASP.NET, and also how to move it to Azure as well.
Okay, cool. Now, I'm going to answer this question that Joey had, right? So, do I still get the rate of 3099 if I could not make it for the coming bootcamp? Now, the coming bootcamp is it's already started. We are doing it online. Plus, we are doing the physical classes this coming weekend, all right? So, now what happens if you can't make it this weekend? Now, what I would advise you to do is to take advantage of the price that we're giving out right now, because we do not guarantee the same price for coming boot camps or coming programs, right? So take advantage of the price right now. Learn online. The classes are all ready for you out there. You can even learn it tonight itself. Go inside there, learn all right now, and then join the community. We have a community on Slack. Now, if you do not know what Slack is a messaging program that works on your browser as an app as well. And all of us, including all the mentors, me, myself, Dr. Lau, and all the mentors that you've seen earlier, together with all the other students, are all in the same group. So imagine that we have over 200 or more, I think, people inside the group. And basically, you share ideas, you ask questions, or even network, look for jobs, look for opportunities inside Slack itself. All right, so we are doing all in Slack, and it's really, really interactive, and all of us are in there. Okay, so I hope that answered the question that you asked earlier. Yeah, so guys, if you have any more questions, go ahead and put in down the chat section. We will be here, say up to about 10:30 to answer questions. So take the advantage of this time. Okay. Now I found a question here that someone asked earlier. Let me just read it out. So what's the usual back-end approach for a live stream app?
So you want to build a live stream app? Maybe I'll ask this question. What do you use a live stream app for? Since there are already a lot of platforms like YouTube, Facebook, they look after the architecture for you already. So what do you need that for?
I don't know who asked that question, but let's see if we get a response on that.
Yeah,
okay,
if he or she is still here.
Yeah. Okay. So let me just answer Ibrahim's question here, and I'll pass it to Dr. Lau to answer as well. Now, as you said before, freelancing the early stage is going to be hard. Why is that, and how can we overcome it? Right. Now, for me, if I were to answer you, freelancing in the beginning is going to be hard because nobody knows you. Right? I think nobody knows you. You're just starting out, and a lot of freelancers in the beginning stage, they try to put their price really, really low. Right? And that's the worst way to go into market, right? When you put price too low, it's going to be very hard to go up again, right? So when you start as a freelancer, you want to charge a fair price, of course, but nobody knows you, and you have to build a portfolio, and that's where the hard part is going to come, right? Now, I think I'll pass the rest of the question to Dr. Lau, and maybe he can explain better than me. All right. So, Dr. Lau.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to take on Ibrahim question first. Is freelancing the early stage is going to be hard. Actually, Ruben actually got the answer already. It's not about the technical part. Is you want to do, but you need to gather a bit of the experience to try to understand what is your customer's pain point. So that's the part that's difficult. It's not about the technical part. It's like your customer might be telling you A, but actually they want something B. So customers never understand what they actually want. So you have to keep on iterating a couple of the process. And then number two is you actually don't know what is the sweet spot of the price point. So you need to spend a bit of time research on your customers, research on your market, and research on your own niche, which area that you are going to be good. So give you an example. When I first started, right, a lot of people, they are actually very good in building websites. So they go around, they don't have a specific niche. They go and talk to florists. I was talking about my experience in Brisbane. Okay, they talk to florists. This uncle, auntie pop shop, they want to sell flowers, and then they go and offer them some sort of service like, hey, I can take your website online, probably for 500 Aussie dollar. But I realized that that's not a market that I want, because that market is very noisy, or that particular niche is very noisy. And then there are some people who go and talk to restaurant owners as well, say, hey, I can help you to take your restaurant online so that people can look for you, and then you can even put your menu online. But nobody actually realized that that's not where the market is, because the restaurant owners are too busy. They don't have time to put their menu online. And back then, we have a lot of other services like Urban Spoons, like Zomato, before Zomato. And then you have Google listings, you have Menu Log. Those services, they help you to put your menu online. They don't really need a website. They just need somebody to help them to key in the menu. And then from my approach is I target, I know that I cannot enter at the time using student visa. I can't get jobs from the big companies. So even though in Malaysia and Singapore, I have founded my own company, web agencies before. So I entered the industry where there's a lot of foreign immigrants. They do a lot of tours, they do a lot of packages, so to get people to fly to China, fly to Taiwan. And that's my sweet spot, because they're actually rich and they're able to pay. Yeah, they have the affordability. So they're able to pay, and each tour is going to cost them about, one person is going to cost them about 1,000, 2,000 already. So money is not an issue to them. Eventually, I found my sweet spot, and I know how to speak Mandarin and communicate with them very well. So I can do my customer service and stuff. So yeah, so there's the part where I think, Ibrahim, you need to understand, it's nothing to be technical. To overcome it, I think we can help you with the community itself, right? The support group itself is able to help you with, to give you some sort of things that validate your ideas, to teach you how to price your service properly. I think that would be the one thing that I would like to advise you is, if you start out as a freelancer, learn how to price your service. Don't price it too low. Yeah. Okay. So that would be my answer to that particular questions. And then for Wallace, the live streaming app, okay, there's a lot of live streaming app built is infra problem. It's not so much on the technical problem. It's just basically a web browser, right? With the capability to take in a source, whether it's from a webcam or it's from a USB camera. You need to understand the technology behind, whether they're using a WebRTC or using an RTMP. So there are different protocols that's running behind, and different compressions and different video format. So those are the technical part that you need to understand. And then I'm more interested in your use case is about, let's say you, for learning purpose, whether you are developing it for learning, or you are developing a learning app. It doesn't matter in this case, right? So you have to understand the compressions, and also to set up the infra and the cost. Usually when we talk about videos and all those transferring multimedia content, right, is the CDN, is the content delivery network. How do you distribute your content fast enough, and how much you're going to pay when you set it up, because of the bandwidth that's going to be involved. Yeah, bandwidth is expensive.
All right, let me just finish up my I think here. All right, so Young Beer, if you need more time, no problem. We are opening up the offer, the 3099, up to tomorrow, end of tomorrow. EOD tomorrow, end of day tomorrow, right? Okay, so again, take your time to think about it, but make a decision by tomorrow, because again, this price is, you don't see this price anywhere except in this webinar, and you stayed back all the way back to here. So that tells me you're someone who wants to learn, to take this seriously. So I would ask you to actually consider that make a decision quick. Okay. Now, one more thing I'd like to add on also is that in this program, you would get a certificate at the end of the program, and this certificate will be signed by Dr. Lau himself. And with this certificate itself, it will help you, to actually apply in certain job areas and all that. And I think the certificate itself is valuable to a lot of people itself. Okay. All right. I think there's one more question. It's a bit technical and it's probably out of. No. It's not a technical problem. It's a it's a very fun question. So I'll let Dr. Lau answer this. Now, programmers are paid way lesser in Malaysia compared to other countries, yet they still want to hire good programmers. So what's your thought on this? So Dr. Lau, yeah, go ahead with that.
Sure. Okay. So the way that people pay lesser because of the supply and demand. So that's actually the main motivation of we doing this, right? So we are doing a lot of teaching education programs. I think Jiawei also mentioned, right? I run another data analytics and also on small budget program in August as well. So these are what motivate us is that this is the gap. Okay, the reason why people are paying low because number one is the bosses, they don't understand the value, so they see the programmers like not an asset. Yeah, in many of the companies they see IT department as a sunk cost because all the while, even when I was working in the IT department, right, whenever I go to see my bosses, either I ask for more RAM, I ask for a better display card, I ask for a bigger hard disk. Yeah. So every time they see us, it's more money. And we IT people, we're technical guys, so we're not really good in negotiation. I used to be like, most of you, I'm an introvert, I'm a geek, I'm a nerd. I enjoy overclocking my CPU, doing those sort of stuff. Only until I founded my own company, I entered the business world, then I realized that no, this is not the way it should work. I deserve, or we as a programmer, we as a software developers, technical people, we deserve better pay and better remuneration. So that's why a lot of people they want to hire good programmers, and then their pay way lesser, and a lot of us, we are lack in negotiation skills, so that we didn't really ask for more. We dare not to ask for more. So this is a misalignment. Okay, and also the perception. Now, also back to your question, and the keyword is good programmers. Good programmers are quite rare to find. So a lot of the good ones, if they are happily, they're willing to find jobs, right? They can easily get jobs. Those that I know, right? Yeah, they are making like 20,000-30,000 per month just by taking side projects or freelancing jobs easily, even in Malaysia and Singapore only. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing, huh? All right. Okay, let's see what else do we have. Now, I have only one more question left that I've written down here in my notebook. Again, guys, if you have any questions, go ahead and ask me or ask us in the chat section here. We'll probably stay for a few more minutes before we close the webinar off. Again, since you're all live today, we'd love to answer anything that you may have. So just ask them, or take the opportunity this time to ask them, okay? Okay, I'm going to put down this question. This is my last question for tonight. Again, if you have more questions, go ahead and ask. Now, this is quite technical. So, to build microservices using PHP 7 or Node.js, which is better on scale? All right, Dr. Lau.
Okay. Once again, it depends on your use case. So if the person who asked the question is still here, then maybe you can let me know what are your use cases, what sort of application they are building. Because let's say you are building a real-time chat application versus a user management system or a book or e-commerce system that's going to scale up to 1 million SKU versus 1 million real-time users to chat, is totally two different use cases. So they are both good. So depending on the use case. Yeah, and it's more of the architecture issue rather than a choice of language issue. To give you an example, a lot of people has been criticizing Ruby on Rails because it says, oh, Ruby on Rails cannot scale. But Shopify scales very well on Ruby on Rails because is an application that does not require that much of a real-time load. So compared to Twitter last time, Twitter was originally built on Ruby on Rails, but it failed because the architecture design and the language itself failed to support the nature of the application. So let's say if you have a rental booking space API, right? In this case, there's not much of a difference. Yeah. For Tang Hong case. So if you are more familiar with PHP, okay, put it this way, right? If you want to hire some people to help you to build out the application whenever you want to grow your team, then PHP 7 will be a better choice, will be an easier choice. But if you want to build something that is more futuristic, meaning that you want to be building a very highly scalable distributed microservices and have a lot of concurrent users to use it at the same time, I would suggest using Node.js.
Okay. So Ibrahim, yes, you will get the slides. So I'll be in charge of sending out the slides to all of you here. So probably later on tonight. And if I don't send it tonight, probably I'll send it to you very early in the morning tomorrow. So we will actually compile the slides from tonight and everything that we talk about and discuss about today in this webinar. And I will send to all of you who stayed on to the end of the webinar. Okay, so I've run out of questions that are written down. I think we have answered all of them. Again, I think if you have any questions, go ahead and ask us in the chat section here, and we'll actually answer all of you right now, right here. Okay, so we probably stay for a few more minutes before we go off. It's already 10:38, and I still see a lot of people still are inside this webinar. You guys are crazy. You guys are maniacs, all right? Yeah. So
Yeah, I appreciate that. Love the energy on a Monday night that everybody is still here and keen to learn.
All right, I think we have another question. Dr. Lau, you can take over from here. I'll just
Yeah.
monitor.
So yeah, about data storage, if a company grow big and need more data storage and trafficking, you mean more traffic, right? How does this work? Okay, so in terms of storage, usually depending on your use case, once again, if you say like a normal MySQL or MS SQL databases, you can keep growing it. So unless you have a lot of unstructured data, then you probably need to look into solutions like MongoDB. So those are more specialized type of databases. Otherwise, normal database like MySQL, MSQL, you can keep scaling it. There's no problem because of the distributed computing. So I give you an example, right? A lot of time is the design issue. It's not so much of the technology issue. And MySQL has been serving a lot of large companies, and before this, Google, Facebook, they're all using that before Hadoop, right? Before Hadoop go up. Only when you have large amount of data that you want to use a very cheap storage, then you can consider big data solution like Hadoop. Otherwise, MySQL, let's say you currently have one database to store all the e-commerce records for entire Malaysia, okay, just one database. But as your business grow fast, you realize that, oh, okay, KL customers grow too big already. KL customers, the transaction volume itself is enough to compare, or is even bigger than the sum of the entire Malaysia. So you can extract KL database out just to put it as a site, and then KL itself take up a database, and then they're still using the same database design, but logically they are using different servers. So to make sure that the qualities of the performance of your website is still the same. Make sense to you? It's more of the design problem. Yeah. So if the data storage keep growing, we can have a different strategy to partition your database or to scale up the servers using cloud technology. Long story short.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I've been speaking with the microphone off. Right, cool. Okay, so I received a PM from one of you asking about the website for the program. So I've pasted it down here just a few seconds ago. So everything on the page, everything you can find there is all the information that you can find about the program. Again, if you have questions and if you are, you're shy to ask them in the chat here, you are shy for us to call out your name, no worries. You can always email us at ruben@the lead or drlau@thelead.io. Okay. Now, again, all the information are inside the full stack web development 360 page. But again, there's the price there would be the public price. What you want is the special price that we have put up on this link here. Okay, so go and get that price. That price is special for you. So, yep. Okay, so I'm not sure you guys can hear me.
Yeah, can hear you. I'll take Jawi questions.
Okay, go ahead.
Yep. So Jawi asked about, may I know what are the precautions to take and what is the advice to draw the line with the IT developer in the early stage of a startup? In most cases, early stage startup, they make this one fatal error is that they shock and delivery too much. So they always think that their solution is the only solution. They never bring their solution out to test it out with their users. So you keep on spending too much time iterating your product. I have seen a lot of startup founders, they fail to do this. So of course, the higher risk will be, or the highest risk will be you as a startup founder, you got no clue about what your app is doing. You either outsource it to somebody else or you don't have a trustworthy co-founder, a technical co-founder in your team. So that would be number one risk. Right. Number two is the advice to draw the line with the IT developer in the early stage of the startup. If you're not really comfortable to give him your stuff, I would say before you raise any funds or before your business actually takes off or you get any tractions, right? Make sure that you have done enough research and make sure that your MVP works and you test it with as many users as you can before you move on to the next iterations. Okay, yeah, that'll be my advice for Jawi.
Right. Thank you so much, Ananda Raj. Really appreciate you joining us tonight, spending your time with us. I hope you learned a lot, taken some golden nuggets back with you. And yeah, if you have any questions, go ahead and just message us and we'll be happy to help. Okay, Wallace, I think we will answer that to you personally, or if you'd like to add anything, Dr. Lau, you can always add on to that. Okay, let's see. All right, so Wallace, yep, you will speak to you personally. I'm just going to type this down here. So this one, again, this webinar is for the full stack web development. For data science, let's speak to you personally. All right. Okay, so all right, we have a question from Jawi. What is the market rate to hire a full stack developer for a startup project? Can you clarify full stack developer? Good question.
Okay, sure. Yeah, good question. Yeah. All right. So maybe I'll try to clarify what is a full stack developer first. Okay. Now, in startup projects, usually there's a lot of things that you need to handle. So, like I mentioned earlier, you have front end, you have full end. So, somebody who is able to handle HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, that's number one criteria. Number two, this person also needs to be able to configure the back end. So, he knows how to set up the server, he knows how to set up the back end processing, he knows how to set up all the business logic for you. These are the two main things for the full stack developer. Number three is the full stack developer needs to know how to configure the database because he or she will have to write all the APIs to connect to the database, to retrieve the data, to display the data. Number four, last thing this person needs to know as a full stack developer is he needs to be able to execute some of the developers DevOps development operations. For example, hosting. They need to know what is the difference between cloud servers versus shared hostings. They need to know how to upload files. They need to know how to do version controls, how to do Git. So these are the things, the essential part of a full stack developer, essential skills. Now, what is the market rate to hire a full stack developer for startup project? If you're talking about just money itself, right? Usually a startup, especially first-time startup founders, or who have no funding or haven't raised fund yet, it's almost impossible for you to pay. Now, for my students who can write mobile apps and also who can build backend application like Manfai, right? I can't disclose the exact amount, but somebody like him, right? He can earn easily from 6 to 8K within this range in the enterprise. Now, in the startups, usually they pay them with equity, okay? So you might be getting paid very little at the early stage if you are the early co-founding team or early founding team per se. They might be just paying you 2,500, 3,000K, just enough or sufficient to cover your bill. But what you are building is a solution that is highly scalable and high growth, that you are building a future. So they give you a certain portion of the equity, maybe 15% or 20%. Yeah, so that would be the case. So for startup, the salary, it varies a little bit. Now, if you look at funded startup, like the example that I shared earlier, especially those who come from overseas, they have backed by 500 startups, Y Combinator, like Damakan, they can easily pay you 100 to 150,000 per year. If you look at companies, or I'm not sure iFlix should still call themselves startup or not, but they still keep calling themselves startups. Yeah, okay. Full stack developer in iFlix easily earn 6 to 8,000 per month as well.
Right. Okay. All right. So we're gonna take one more last question, and then we're gonna call it a night. I think it's going to be 3 hours in a webinar. Now we always plan for a 2 hours webinar, but we end up taking up to 3 hours all the time because of the questions, because of everything that is going on in the webinar. All right. So one more last question, if there's any, and I guess we call it a night. All right. Going to see if there's any more questions from you guys. If not, we're going to call it a night. So yeah, ask away if you have any. All right, again, so while you are typing those questions, if there's any, registration is open. Again, please use the special link that we have provided you in this webinar. That will be the special price for the course itself. Don't go and click on the landing page price, because that's for the public price. And yes, Jiawei, the currency to be paid to the full stack developer is in Ringgit Malaysia, I think. I think that you're referring to Dr. Lau's answer, right? Okay.
Yeah, that's Ringgit Malaysia. That's right.
Yeah, 6 to 8,000 ringgit Malaysia. Of course, again, what I believe as someone who is into marketing and sales is that when it comes to career order, it always depends on how you negotiate your pay. So there's another part to salaries and all that. It's again how you negotiate your pay, and yeah. So there's so many variables to it again. Okay, so if there are no more questions for this webinar, I guess we would call it a day. Anything else to, any last advices to give out or anything to say, Dr. Lau, before we end the webinar?
I think everybody is overwhelmed. I can still see about 20, 25 people still online. So yeah, I'm glad, and then I'm happy to see this level, the energy level, and you guys are passionate to learn. So I think I'm not going to add on anymore. Most of the stuff regarding today's topic are also well covered. So up to 11 p.m. Yeah. So once again, thanks Ruben, and thanks everyone to be here. So if you have any questions, yeah, just drop me a line. I'm more than happy to help you out. Okay, thank you very much, everybody, and have a good night.
All right, so guys, that's the end of the webinar. I hope you learned a lot. Dr. Lau and also myself is open to actually receive any questions personally from you. So just drop us any email. Again, I'm going to type this out for one last time before we go off. You can email me at ruben@thelead.io, or you can message or email Dr. Lau at thelead.io. Okay, so again, thanks again, guys. Thanks, Tang Hun. Thanks, Jiawei. Appreciate you guys joining us for the webinar, and we'll see you again. Yeah. So make sure to like our Facebook page. Make sure to follow us on our emails. Say subscribe, and we'll see you. All right. Good night, guys. Bye bye.